Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi Outs here. It's Saturday morning, and we're playing the Dallas Mavericks today at 7:30, Scotiabank Arena. Luka Doncic, Klay Thompson, and Kyrie Irving against Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett, and hopefully we'll see Jakob. We'll have to see. We'll get into the latest lineup news and the referee report right now, and we're also reacting to a route loss that the 905 suffered to the Westchester Knicks last night at Paramount Fine Food Center. So let's activate, Raptor Freaks. All right, here we go. Let's start with our injury report. Ours has very much changed a lot in the last day. It's longer, but it's better in some ways. Let's just put it that way. There's some names added to it and some names that have shifted their status. And what do you want first, the good news or the bad news? Let me give you the bad news first. Davion Mitchell has been added to the injury list. He's day-to-day. He has a hip injury, so he may not play today. Davion Mitchell, just so y'all know. Also, Jakob Poeltl is still listed as questionable due to his illness, so it could be that we're without our big Austrian center for another game in a row. So that's too bad. Now, Shamshay did play in the game last night for 905, so he is no longer ill. So he should be available if they do want to play him today in the Raptors game, which has not been the pattern, so it's not likely they will. DJ Carton is still out due to his ankle. Emmanuel Quickley is still out due to his elbow. Bruce Brown is still out due to his knee. So no return of Emmanuel or Bruce and no DJ, but there's a change with Kelly Olynyk, guys. Kelly Olynyk is questionable for today's. That's an upgrade. This is just like what happened with Grady earlier this week, where he went from out to questionable, and then boom, he played the next game. So this is a really good sign that our Canadian player, Kelly Olynyk, it may be imminently returning to our lineup to help us out. Doug Smith saying that it's be just in time for a Dwight Powell versus Kelly Olynyk battle off the bench. Team Canada backup bigs going at each other. So if there's any good news, it sounds like Kelly might play today, guys. There is an opportunity for Mr. Olynyk to finally make his season debut for this year. So we'll have to see if that's what happens. But yeah, that's our injury report right now. Davion and Jakob are questionable. So is Kelly. And then a bunch of guys are out. Emmanuel, Bruce, DJ are out. So yeah, what is the speculative starting lineup then, Lex? Well, I don't think they're going to start Bruno Fernando again, depending on what it's going to be against the Mavericks. I think that they could actually do what I was thinking they might do and start Jacoby with Grady, RJ, Oshai, and Scotty, and have a point guard by duty thing kind of going with Scotty and RJ. And then, Scotty's also pulling center duties in the game. In some ways, I wouldn't have said, let's do this to this young man a couple of years ago. But Scotty Barnes is up for the task. If they want to play him at center today, they might be able to get away with it. We'll have to see. On the other side of the ball, let's take a look and see what the Dallas Mavericks look like right now this year. They're on a 6-game win streak, guys, just so you know. They've been tearing it up. They're on a hot streak right now where they've won 6 in a row. They're the third best team in the Western Conference. Oklahoma City's number 1. This is the third best team in the West. So this is no slouch in some ways with the record. This is their injury report. Right now, Jaden Hardy is day-to-day. He's doubtful for today's game against the Raptors due to a right ankle strain. Najee Marshall is out for the game today due to illness. And Dante Exum had surgery, and he is out right now. So it's not major injuries for them, that's for sure. Their lineup is as such. The point guard is Luka Doncic. The shooting guard is Kyrie Irving. The small forward is Klay Thompson. The power forward is P.J. Washington. And the center is Derek Lively II in his second year as an NBA player. So, yeah, we see that in some ways they're not playing a true center, but it are kind of, I don't know, it's a Lively kid is a very big power forward, but, maybe not a true center. And we'll have to see. Maybe that with no Yak, maybe Scotty can be the starting center against this team, the Mavericks, tonight. We'll have to see. Hartenstein may have made Darko Wana start Bruno in the last game. Who knows? Maybe they even start Jonathan. I could see them doing that But either way, they're going to have to figure out the starting lineup for the Mavericks tonight. Of course, Klay Thompson is the newest addition to the Mavericks, and there's mixed reviews on whether he's fitting in with them or not. In some ways, Klay is not playing well this year. And but some people are just saying, well, it doesn't matter what he does during the regular season. He's supposed to help them in the postseason when they need the big time 3-point shooting and the big stage of the playoffs. But there's no guarantees on that. I'm just saying, Spencer Dinwiddie comes off the bench for them. Quentin Grimes, you are not him, will be playing tonight. Maxi Kleber of the German team. No, wait, he's not of the German team, is he? Daniel Gafford, of course, on this team also. That guy, he may be a problem because of our lack of a center. I don't know if Bruno's the right complement against him. This may be part of the reason why we need Kelly to come back tonight. Also, they've got off the bench Dwight Powell, as I mentioned before. Jay-Z and Gortman, OMP. Our Canadian player is on their bench, of course. Olivier Maxence Prosper, and then Markieff Morris is on this team also. So that's the Mavericks team that we're looking at tonight. A veteran team, an older trending team with their age in some ways. We'll have to see. In some ways, their knock was defense in recent years. And, well, having people like Lively and Gafford around has helped immensely. PJ Washington also. So this is this Dallas team has tried to balance out both sides of the ball with their personnel decisions. And, they're an interesting team. We'll have to see. This will be the first time we see them. In some ways, I don't just take what's happened with them as what they are. I want to see them against our team, and then we'll gauge it against the rest of it. And Oklahoma City was the real deal. Let's see if Dallas is today. Let's see if they are today. All right, referee report for today. We've got a few refs we've seen recently as refs once again. Our main referee today, crew chief, is James Capers. James Capers is refereeing his third game for the Raptors this season. This will be, we're 1-1 with him so far. Last game we got ref by him, we won. So we're 1-1 with James Capers so far this particular season. He's in his 30th year out of Chicago, Illinois. His favorite movie is Malcolm X. He likes to listen to Jill Scott. He likes to read The Shack. He'll eat some lobster roll on Martha's Vineyard. He'll listen to some Pandora. He wants to attend an English Premier League soccer match, and his hidden talent is bid whist. This guy's a card player, so he's good at that bid whist. In addition to his experience in the NBA, Capers has spent 6 years as a referee in the CBA, where he officiated 3 finals and 2 all-star games. Of course, James Capers is the son of former NBA official James Capers Sr. That's right. Now, James, like I said, we're 1-1 with him so far this season. He is the worst percentage ref for the Raptors today, the crew chief. We win 45% of our games, and meanwhile, the Mavericks win 62%. So 45-62 for the Dallas Mavericks is a split with crew chief James Capers. Yeah, 1-1 with him for the season, though. Second ref is Aaron Smith, and his 9th season out of Westchester, Pennsylvania. Number 51 likes to watch the show Top Boy. His favorite movie is The Martian. He likes to listen to John Legend. Favorite book, Born a Crime. Any breakfast is good for him. His favorite app is Peloton, and he must like to visit Thailand and Vietnam. His bucket list is to compete on Jeopardy. That's kind of cool. This guy wants to be on Jeopardy, man. Too bad you couldn't get on there while Trebek was hosting that show still. Yeah, Aaron Smith, that's a great bucket list, man. I can really get behind that, man. At the collegiate level, Aaron Smith officiated 4 seasons in the Big South Conference, including the conference championship game in 2016. Aaron Smith is an interesting ref. Let's see. He is the best ref for the Raptors today. We lost the first game he ref for us this season, so he has been a referee in 1 game this season. We lost. So our winning percentage historically with Aaron Smith was really high. It's gone down in recent years, but it's 53%. And meanwhile, the winning percentage for the Mavericks when Aaron Smith is present is 52%. So a slight advantage for the Raptors with a second ref, Aaron Smith, 53-52% for the Raptors. Aaron Smith. Third ref is a ref we have not seen this season yet, but we will today. Finney Ransom, number 70 out of Atlanta, Georgia, in his 7th season. His favorite TV show is It is 60 Minutes. This guy's a 60 Minutes fan. That's pretty cool. Okay, Andy Rooney. His favorite movie is Enter the Dragon. That's very cool also. His favorite musician is The Foreign Exchange. His favorite book is The Tao of Abundance. His favorite meal is hibachi chicken and shrimp. His favorite app is Shazam. So he's trying to find out what that music is. And he most like to visit Cairo, Egypt, not Cairo, Georgia, I'm sure. The man's from Atlanta. He's probably been to Cairo, Georgia, and that ain't nothing, I'll tell you. But he wants to go to Cairo, Egypt. Cairo. I should say Cairo, not Cairo. I'm calling it Cairo like the South Georgians do, because it's Cairo down in South Georgia. It's not Cairo, Lex. It's Cairo, Cairo, Egypt. Come on now. Bucket list is to learn how to play the piano. Okay, go talk to Nick Nurse in Hidden Talent Public Speaking. So Fantasy Ransom has 8 years of collegiate officiating experience with assignments in the Mid-Eastern Atlantic Athletic, Southwestern Athletic, Big South, Ohio Valley, Southern, and Sun Belt conferences, among others. He also spent 6 years officiating high school basketball in Georgia. Yeah, we have not seen Fantasy yet so far, but he is right down the middle. No games this year, so he's 500 in his career with the Raptors, right down the middle. I think we're 5-5 with him. And meanwhile, the Mavericks have seen him a bit more. They're 10-10, so they're 500 also. So it's right down the middle with the third ref split. 500, 500, 50-50. So you do it's 50-50 split. It's even. There you go. That's the third ref Fantasy Ransom. Now, I'll say on this crew, as far as looking at them and having opinions on how they are, they may be okay. We'll see. James Capers will lead this referee crew, and we'll see how he does it. In some ways, we've seen James this year in Scotiabank, and he's been pretty fair to us on our home court with a little bit of home cooking with referee calls. We'll just have to see. Once again, James Capers is an older ref that's been in this league for 30 years, as long as the Raptors have been here. So he's seen the journey of the Raptors through the 30 years. And in some ways, he's one of these refs like Tony Brothers that will reward hard work and playing the game right. So Raptors, play ethically, play the game right. Don't be a little whiny bitches, and just get out there and perform and play your asses off. And James Capers will look out for you. Trust me. That's the thing I'm realizing more and more with the older refs like Michael Smith, James Capers, and Tony Brothers, is if you work your ass off, if you bust your ass, the refs will reward you, Raptors. So remember that. With most of these old head refs are like this. Some of the younger refs, it's not exactly like this. But the old heads, it's like that. And James Capers is an old head. Let's just put it that way. He is for sure. All right, let's see what's going on in the chat, y'all. Good morning. Good morning. It's still a lot of snow on the ground out here in the woods of Ontario where I live. But yeah, not a whole lot more, but it's still sitting there. I see it. The tracks of the little animals running around in my yard are funny. Let's see. Trevor's saying, sometimes you have to let things go so there's room for better things to come into your life. That's right. That's right. That's a tough lesson, man. It's hard because especially if it's something that you're used to and that you've enjoyed and that, but it's just run its course. You've got to let go in some ways because, you hold on longer and longer. Sometimes it gets worse in certain ways that you don't want it to. So you got to make the tough decisions sometimes when you know that it's just not something that's going to continue. It sucks. It sucks, Trevor. Oh, my gosh. Words of wisdom. Thank you. Thank you, Trevor J. He's also saying, happy game day. Let's go. And y'all have a great day, everyone, and be thankful. I'll be back tomorrow. All right, Arnold. Don't tell us, y'all, I'll be back. All right, yeah, you'll be back. All right, cool. I appreciate you, Trevor J., for all you do as the commissioner of fun of this channel and the great support you've shown me and this channel over the years. Now, tomorrow we'll be going to the 9:05 game, hopefully. Some of y'all will be able to join me. It's a 2 o'clock start at Paramount Fried Food Center. I'm going to get down there at about 1:15 and get some tickets and hang out and be in the arena. Just look for old Lex, the Raptor Freak, and say, hey, Raptor Freak, and come sit down with me. And we'll watch the game tomorrow. 9:05, hosting the second game of the Westchester Knicks, which they lost real bad to last night. We're going to talk about that today. But yeah, I hope that people can come. And it's also a toy drive for Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Season of Giving. Raptors 905 wants you to bring toy items to donate to their cause if you're coming to the game tomorrow. So hopefully we'll get a good crew out there. I know Monique is coming. And I'll be coming there also. So people, come on down, say hi to the super fan and the Raptors freak down at the 9:05 game tomorrow. It doesn't even matter if you're a regular that comments with me. If you're somebody who watches my stream and you never comment, you watch me later, please come on down, just say hi and introduce yourself. I'll be very happy to meet you and watch some 9:05 action with you tomorrow afternoon out at Mississauga at Paramount Fine Food Center. That's right. Let's go. Fiercey Salsera in the house. Good morning, fam, and happy game day. Happy game day to you, MJ, holding it down for the RFF crew in the Ottawa region in our capital, or the nation's capital of this great country called Canada. That's right. Fiercely saying, I'm not too worried about Luka. We need to contain Kyrie, as he has always had good games against us. That's why I feel like this is not an opportune time for us to have off night on the injured list. In some ways, if there's somebody out there that can keep up with Kyrie and do things that can stifle him, it may be Davion Mitchell. I mean, seriously. I mean, Jamal Shead will probably give it a good shot, but in some ways, we really want that veteran who's kind of had some body of work against Kyrie Irving and trying to slow him down. That's something that I would have liked to see, because you're exactly right, Fiercey. Kyrie Irving has been a Raptor killer in the years recently. He's been a Raptor killer pretty much his whole career. We could go back and look at the Cleveland days and those battles when he was very young. And even like in the recent years with Brooklyn Nets, there are a lot of games where he would elevate his game and take over things in the fourth quarter and get the W against us. Kyrie is tough against the Raptors. And in some ways, that's why I'm not too happy that Davion Mitchell is day-to-day today, because he could be a real speed bump and slowing down Kyrie Irving, one of the greatest ball handlers and players in the history of the NBA. So, yeah, I would like us to have all forces available. And if hopefully Mitchell can play tonight and do something to stop Irving, that would be very, very good. Yeah, it's fiercely saying, agreed at Trevor. Letting go of negativity will definitely create space for positivity. That's what I'm saying. There's so much curation of our algorithms on our social media now that's sending negativity to us on purpose, because they want us to feed our minds with cynicism, negativity, sadness, anger, depression, all this stuff. It's very manipulative. There's a lot of mind control going on through algorithms on social media feeds. And people need to be more cognizant, aware of this. Stuff is appearing in your feeds that is purposely put there by sometimes nefarious sources. And we need to maybe sometimes step away from the computer and not have so much screen time, because this stuff will overtake your feelings and emotions and get you in a negative place. So I caution everyone, it's good to be informed. It's good to stay on top of things. But at what point are you just wasting time doom scrolling and getting yourself all worked up in a tizzy over stuff that is designed to get you worked up in a tizzy? So I say cut out the negative online time and go out and do something in your life without a screen involved, and maybe hopefully outside, not necessarily around where I'm at right now, but or out and seeing people or socially. Because, yeah, you can fill your time with being on the computer and reading everything that's going on, and you will get all messed up. I'm telling you right now, you get messed up from that kind of stuff right now. All right, let's keep going with the stream today. We had a game yesterday, and it was the 9:05 versus the Knicks, and they were bad. In some ways, it was I knew we were in trouble before the game even started when I saw the starting lineup, and I saw that none of our J-Rooks were going to be there. None of them. And I mean, that made sense. When I really thought about it, it's like you could put them through the ringer and make them play 3 games or 4 games in the 3 days, because they played 2 games on Thursday, double duty with a school day game on Thursday morning, and then playing the Raptors game against OKC on Thursday night. Well, if they played them against Westchester last night, that would be a back-to-back-to-back. And then they'd even not be available fully for today against the Mavericks. So I'm sure the Raptors organization valued having our J-Rooks available for Darko in the main squad against the Mavericks today, instead of putting them through the ringer of playing against Westchester Knicks last night. Now, the problem with that is the Raptors 905 without the J-Rooks is not good. It's not good. It's a team that's disorganized and just not doing it right. In fact, Andrew Jones, after the game in his post-game conference, basically saying, I have these great game plans. I have all these things I'm telling them to do, but they have no discipline and they're not doing it. He got really mad. He's like, I can only do so much, is what he's saying. He's saying, I give them a good plan. We have a certain thing that we're supposed to be doing, but these guys are not doing it. They have no discipline and they're not sticking to the plan. And this is why everything falls apart for us. So, yeah, Andrew Jones is telling it like it is. And I see exactly what you're saying. And this is something I've said on my stream. It's like, look, the coach can have the best intentions for the team and what they want them to execute and do on the court and try and prepare them the best they can. But if the players aren't getting it, if the players aren't focused enough, or they're not being professional enough, or they're not, really executing the scheme that he told them to do, they're just going off script and doing what they want to do. Well, this is what happens. As a person who's coached basketball in the past myself, you can only control so much as the coach. You can give them instruction. You can give them play sets. You can tell them what you intend for them to do, but sometimes life goes off script on the game, and you can't control it all the time. And boom, that's what happens. And this is what's happening with Andrew Jones right now. It's not a thing that they don't respect him. It's not a thing that they don't listen to him. It's just that they're not playing, let's just say, ethically right. They're not listening to what he cares about and doing it. They're kind of going on doing their own thing. And that's a problem. That's a problem. They had an interview with Luke Wynn at halftime. Lindsey Dunn interviewing him about being the GM of the 905. He's talking about how I just like bringing good talent like Charlie Brown. And I'm like, dude, shut up, man. Don't bring in people like Charlie Brown. Seriously, man. In some ways, your philosophies, and he did explain what his philosophies are as a GM of the 905. I want you to go more line with them. He said that our purpose is to help the Raptors get to their next championship in the NBA. And I totally agree with you. But in that case, in some ways, the personnel decisions you make as a general manager of the 905 should reflect that. And in some ways, I have a whole bunch of ideas myself on how you could facilitate this to be a much better incubator to get us towards Larry O'Brien on the big level faster or better, in a better way. And some of it has to do with the coach. Some of it has to do with the team that you build around the players that Masai and Bobby invested in with draft picks that are the players that have the best path and the best to go forward and help us towards Larry O'Brien. And the problem is, Luke Wynn, is that some of the players you're bringing in on the fringes of things to flesh out the 905 roster are not conducive to help Andrew Jones execute his coach's plan. And that you need to, I don't care about talent. I don't give a shit that Charlie Brown has been one of the most talented players in the 905 for about 6 years. Who cares? That's a red flag right there, my guy. Who cares? I don't necessarily want the most talented guys. I want more guys like Eugene Omoruyi. I want role players. I want guys that are team players that are going to play well off each other and do dirty work and do everything like that. I don't want selfish players. I don't want players that are going to freeze out people like Grady Dick and Jacoby Walter when they come to Mississauga to play with our G League team. I don't want those kind of players. I don't want Jay Sean Page. I don't want JFL. I don't want Charlie Brown Jr. on this team. We need player types that in some ways, look, what you need to look for, Luke Wynn, is players that have one or two very, very strong skills that are not scoring. They could be passing. They could be rebounding. They could be defense. They could be a specialty three-point shooter like Tyreek Key. But you do not need people that are ballers that want to ball out. In some ways, Kennedy Chandler has been saving our bacon, but not in an effective way that we're going to win 9 of 5 games. So in some ways, not even Kennedy Chandler. Even if him and Charlie Brown are the two of the most talented guys who were in the pool that you could grab that were available, you shouldn't have went there in some ways, because we need role players. We need guys who are going to know their role when Jay rookies and Ulrich Shamshay are getting their due and what they need to be doing to get better, to be better for the big club. So let's figure out what the goal is here, and let's design the team better so that it's conducive to meet our goals to help the big club. Because that's what you're saying what's important, Luke Wynn, is to help the big club get closer to Larry O'Brien. Well, let's think about what that means and how we do it. I don't want to tell them. I mean, listen, if Andrew Jones can have a career as a G League coach, kicking some butt, I want to see him get more than 2 years. Like if he can have a learning curve where he is getting better and better each year that he coaches that G League team, I would like to see him get like 2 or 3 years, Masai and Bobby. I don't want to see switch out. And then all of a sudden we have a new learning curve for a green coach, and he's learning all over again. In some ways, that's the other area that would prepare us better to get to the next championship for the Raptors proper, is that if we have a learned veteran coach that he's not teaching on the job for himself, he's actually knows what he's doing, and everything is set up so that he can put the right platform to spring the J Rooks and Ulrich Shamshe and people we have invested in that we want to get better and better. Because in some ways, it's no diss to Andrew Jones. He seems like a great guy. He's got everything in his right intentions for what he's trying to do with 905. But learning on the job as a coach, as you're trying to teach guys that are learning on in the NBA and the G League, it's a conflict in some ways, because you're not the most experienced guy to teach them the best, to get the best out of them in the development down there. And that's why I'd rather have an old head coach, somebody like a Bill Fitch. I know, rest in peace, long time ago, just an old head coach that's been around for a long time, that in some ways will teach them the right way, what matters in the NBA, and will be able to tell them from experience. It's not a diss on Andrew Jones. In some ways, he needs to have the chance to start his basketball career at new levels. And I commend the NBA for G League and the Raptors for having 905 to do this. But also at the same time, where's the conflict there? And what I'm saying is the coach needs to be at the top level of knowledge in what he's doing, not a green coach who's just starting out. He needs to know what he's doing to help those guys the best. I really do believe this. That's why in college, the greatest coaches in college were like Coach K and Dean Smith and Roy Williams and these guys that stuck around for a long, long time, because they had a lot of experience dealing with young players and understanding them and learning how to help them grow up and mature as young men and young players of professional basketball. And that's what I'm worried about right here. That's what I'm worried right here. So my stars of the game for the game, then the loss. It was a very bad loss. Only three guys I want to commend for the game last night. My number one star of the game is Kennedy Chandler. Kennedy Chandler is calling his number a lot, but he is efficient. I have to give him that. He's shooting over 50%, and he has been playing pretty well for the most part, better and better as the season's gone on. So Chandler, 12 of 21 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3. He's 1 of 2 at the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 steal, 2 turnovers, minus 28 with 26 points and 35 minutes. He's the leading scorer. But what does that matter if he gets 26 points and shoots so well when the team loses by 20 by the end of the game? And they threaten to come back a couple times. They do a little fake comeback thing where they're threatening. But then, as Andrew Jones said, that as soon as they're starting to get good things going, they make careless turnovers. They're not disciplined, and it all unravels. And the other team boosts their lead back up again, and it just happens that way. They were close a couple times in the game to kind of taking them. Let's see, where were those points? There was a bit in the second quarter where they got close, and then later in the fourth, they were starting to make a run, and they got within 10, and then a couple turnovers, and boom, it is what it is. So they had their chances. And they had their possibilities, but they didn't execute cleanly enough to make sure that they won. And they didn't. They were behind the whole time, and they were coming back the whole time. The second star of the game for me is Quincy Guerrier, the Canadian from Montreal. 32 minutes. He was 8 of 9 from the field overall. He hit his only 3-point shot, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, a minus 24, 17 points in 32 minutes. Yeah, Quincy was solid. Quincy was athletic. Quincy was doing a lot of different things out on the court. He was getting up and down the court. He was a bright spot in the game yesterday, and he got the post-game interview because he seemed to be the one that kind of did the best out there overall. Yeah, in some ways, he was a bright spot. He had that nice 3. The third star of the game for me was Evan Gilliard, the second, off the bench. He came in for 16 minutes off the bench with 6 of 7 from the field, missed his only 3-point shot. 1 of 1 at the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 3 turnovers, a +4 with 14 points in 16 minutes. Evan Gilliard filling it up a bit late in the game to try and make up the deficit to try and help us win. But alas, too little and not enough in a very perfect way as far as like not turning the ball over in some ways. So those are my 3 stars of the game. Some of the other guys on the team, Disu did not follow up the game on the second night of a back-to-back very well. 3 of 9 from the field this time, 1 of 6 from 3 instead of 8 of 9. 1 of 1 at the free throw line, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, 4 blocks, though, minus 30 with 9 points in 23 minutes. Omoruyi shot 3 of 11. Not a great shooting night for him. 1 of 3 from 3. He missed his only free throw. 4 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block, 7 points. Something interesting about Omoruyi, real quick. He got into it with one of the Knicks players in the game, and it was serious. Like, they got into it in the third quarter, talked a lot of trash, had to be separated. And then after the game, when they were doing the handshakes, he talked more smack, and they had to be separated again. So there may be a little bit of extra drama tomorrow for the 9:05 game we're going to, because Eugene Omoruyi and one of the Knicks guys have a big beef right now, and they were ready to throw down. So if that's interesting to you, as far as going to the 9:05 game tomorrow, there may be a part 2 to what is happening with him and this Knicks player. I forget which one it is. But yeah, Omoruyi really got into this guy, and they want to go at it. So there could be a little extra physicality and drama, a little chippiness with ethical Draymond, showing a little Draymond-ness to himself yesterday, as far as getting chippy with one of the Knicks and wanting to, honestly, he wanted to throw down. After the game, he was coming at him and saying, all right, it's game's over, let's go. And everybody had to separate them. Everybody. One of the Westchester Knicks coaches got really bent out of shape, complaining to the refs after that. Eugene came over and talked smack. This was not a friendly DAP line after the game. Let's just put it that way. And people had to be separated, and Eugene had to be taken to the back, to the locker room, before any hands were thrown. Let's just put it that way. Charlie Brown in the game last night, 26 minutes, 0 for 2. He took only 2 shots, and they were both threes, missed them both. 2 for 2 at the free throw line, 1 rebound, 4 points, 4 fouls, a minus 28, 26 minutes of cardio for this guy to get 1 rebound and 4 points at the free throw line. And that's it. That's it. Yeah, I'm telling you, in some ways, Charlie Brown was a waste of time this whole time, Luke Wynn. You could brag about him at halftime in your interview, but that don't go nowhere with me, because I see what he is for what he is in some ways. Shamshay had a bad game, guys, last night. Shamshay was only 13 minutes in. Of course, he was sick this week, so he's coming back from an illness. 0 for 2 from the field. Only took 2 shots, missed them both. 0 for with points, but got 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 blocks, a +2, though. I mean, that's a good sign, a 20-point blowout. At least the minutes that Shamshay was out there, that they were winning. And that assist he had was very nice, honestly. It was the kind of thing where he had the ball. They gave him the ball near the free throw line, and he made a little move trying to go to the basket, but a teammate cut along the baseline, and he found him with a little bounce pass, and they laid it in. That was a really nice play and playmaking by Ulrich. The assist by Shamshay could be very, very good in the future, guys. I'm seeing it as a very bright potential. Miles Burns came in for a little bit there, 2 for 2 from the field, making his only 3, making his only free throw. No stats accumulated, but 7 points in 6 minutes. So he was trying to help the late charge of closing the gap. He came in too little, too late. Kevin O'Banner, 2 of 3 in 13 minutes of action. 1 rebound, 1 assist, +9 with 4 points. Tyreek Key, 4 of 10 from the field, 1 of 6 from 3, missed his only free throw, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 blocks for Tyreek Key. He did have 5 fouls. He was all over the place. A +11, though, the best plus-minus on the team. 9 points in 30 minutes. And then Tyler Perry coming in, and also a plus. The bench guys did good. Like Andrew Jones said after the game, the bench guys actually were lifting us up and getting us back in the game, trying to wake up the knuckleheads on the starting lineup. And, the bench were providing the spark. Andrew Jones did give them some credit for that. Tyler Perry, 2 of 6 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3, 3 of 4 from the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 turnover, 12 points for Tyler Perry. Yeah, the bench, they tried to do some stuff late to help them, but alas. The Knicks were actually very on point. They had a couple players that were very dominant. Donovan Williams with 38 points as his career high, a +23 with 13 of 16 shooting. Fantastic. TJ Warren. See, in some ways, they had very high talent on the other side. TJ Warren is a former NBA player. He is an NBA player. In some ways, he's just down there doing stuff for them. He had 30 points for them last night and 7 rebounds, 4 steals, 11 of 20 shooting, 4 of 8 from 3. So TJ Warren was a factor. Also, Shuma Akeke, 7 of 9 from the field, 4 of 5 from 3 himself. So they did have some good three-point shooting in this game, shooting 42% from three, 15 of 36. Yeah, and off the bench, their French rookie, Dadier, he was pretty good, 7 of 13 with 16 points in 30 minutes. Yeah, there were a couple of shining stars on the other side for the Knicks, unfortunately, and nobody really stepping up for us. We let them score very consistently the whole entire game. They outshot us 53% from the field. We shot 51%, which is not bad. We were 28% from three. They were 42% from three. They were 67% from the free throw line. We were 69. So it was both teams shot bad at the free throw line. They did get more attempts, though, getting to the line. They out-rebounded us 46 to 33. Assists, 29 for the Knicks and only 18 for us. So we're not sharing the ball very well. 18 assists, 18 turnovers for the Raptors 905 yesterday. Really, really bad. Points in the paint, beaten 66 to 60 for the the Westchester Knicks. So, yeah, there's your 905 game in a snapshot from the box score of what happened yesterday. My 3 stars, Kennedy Chandler, Quincy Guerriere, and Evan Gilliard II. My 3 stars. There you go. Boom goes the dynamite. Wayne's here. Good to see Wayne Strainer. Sergeant Wayne Strainer in the house. Lakers versus Hawks was an excellent game. 2 unlikables, Trae Young and LeBron. Heartbreak at the end for Lakers. Bucks got beat again. Trent Jr. ain't getting any touches. China in the future for him. I don't want to wish that for him. Listen, Gary doesn't have to be a starter. Gary doesn't have to be a full-fledged kind of like rotation player every night, but he's valuable in the NBA. I mean, in some ways, he's going to go through slumps. I still feel like Gary Trent Jr. is not fully healed from whatever's been bothering him for the last couple of years. That there's definitely been a different Gary 2 years ago compared to last year with the Raptors and so far this year with Milwaukee. That I think that there's something that he is having a real injury issue that he's having to manage that has just not helped him be his top self. And that's too bad. I feel bad. I have no hate towards Gary Trent Jr. And in some ways, I hope that he can get it together and figure it out more and more. The Bucks, if they do well in the postseason, I don't get upset about that because in some ways, once again, the Bucks are similar to the Raptors. They're not the most respected Eastern team as far as like getting pushed by the NBA media. And in some ways, they're an underdog. So I can get behind a Bucks successful postseason run, partly because in some ways they're very similar to Toronto as far as a team, a market that does not get the due respect that it probably does deserve. They won a championship, but in some ways the NBA still slights them in a lot of ways, just like us. So I'm going to get behind that. I love hearing that the Lakers lost the Hawks, though. That's fantastic. All right, let's go look at the Instagram stories, guys, real quick. Instagram, we got a game day. 7:30 is the tip-off on TSN. The game will be on TSN tonight. Raptors with the Mavericks in town, Luka and them, and we'll go see them tonight. Let's see what's up. Lloyd is celebrating. There's a graphic that came out of Jonathan Mobo, played in G League and NBA on the same day, and Lloyd is celebrating that factor on his Instagram. What about Lloyd? So is Scotty. The very same post is on Scotty's. The Yasirski, the Broskis are all showing up for their friend Jonathan on this. So he's posted it. Scotty is showing the love for Jonathan's achievement of playing in the G League and the NBA on the same day, going on that list. And there's Jonathan with the highlight from the G League game that they played against the Swarm on Thursday morning. And there is the same graphic. Jonathan celebrating himself for playing in the G League and the NBA on the same day. Norman Powell has an Understand the Grind pillow or something, some sort of gear. He's selling it like crazy right now. Get the Understand the Grind Norman Powell gear, Raptors fans. If you love our guy, Stormin' Norman, Playoff Powell, yeah, you can get his gear and buy it. Maybe he still has Raptor colors that go with it too. The real Morris Peterson is in the gym with a youngster teaching him how to play the game right. Uncle Pete going to make sure nephew's shot is on point. There you go. I like to hear that. Good to see Morris Peterson in the Instagram stories this morning. Jamal McGlure at the game the other day. And there was a young fan from Oklahoma City that came to the game, and he got pictures with a whole bunch of people at the arena. There's a picture with him with A-Dub, second to none. Mr. Boogie Williams, Alvin Williams, looking so classy with his suit and his glasses. There he is with the great Montreal player, Lou Getz Dort. There he is with Coach Darko. Getting a picture with Darko. There's a picture of him with Rowan Barrett Sr. He's taking a picture with RJ's dad. There he is with SGA. That's probably the crown jewel. It's in the center. because obviously this is an OKC fan and he really likes SGA. And there he is with SGA. There he is with Jamal McGlure, great Canadian and Toronto Raptor player and community ambassador for the Raptors. And then the other pictures are him with Chris with his eyes closed. Chris has his eyes closed. Bruce Brown came over and took a picture with him. These guys were warming up at a certain time, obviously, when he caught these pictures. And then a picture of him with Mark Strizzy, our announcer in the arena that gets the crowd hyped. This young man got a plethora of great pictures right here, and it's Jamal showing it off. You got Coach Darko and SGA. That's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. Jamal celebrating life back in the day. He's a 90s kind of guy. He loves showing old 80s and 90s clips and remembering the past and living how it used to be. That's right. I'd love to see that. Yeah, there's more fun stuff on Jamal stuff. Top rap songs in 1988 are posted on there also. Yeah, it was game day yesterday for the 905. Here's some highlights on their Instagram. Of course, yes, tomorrow is going to be a toy drive for the game. For big brothers and big sisters. So bring any toys to donate to the 905 game if you're going tomorrow. Last night it was toiletry drive for our place Peel region. And yeah, they did a food drive also for the Seva Food Bank earlier this week also. Yeah, they're going to get another chance to play against the Westchester Knicks tomorrow. Hopefully they can do better. The Westchester Knicks record is about 500, but it doesn't really show how good they are. They're actually a better team than their record, is what we learned yesterday. It's just too bad. The J-Rooks weren't available. In some ways, I'm wondering if they're going to be available in these kind of situations. I mean, could they play tonight against Dallas and then play tomorrow against the Westchester Knicks and then play against the Knicks on Monday? But that's 3 days in a row, Lex. And often we don't want them to do like back-to-backs are tough already. So I don't know. I think that in some ways we could probably expect Jacoby, Jamal, Jonathan, and Jameson to be held away from the 905 in this situation because there's too essential to the Raptors roster rotation right now. And that the 905, they can wallow. It doesn't matter. It could very well be that this is what happens, guys, that the J-Rooks stay away from 905 while this part of their season in G League is going on. And then when it switches at the end of this month, they may be more involved, partly because we're healthier with the vets coming back of Bruce Brown, Kelly, and Emmanuel. And that in the second half of the G League season, maybe they are going to try and compete to win and try and get somewhere with winning a G League championship because it all resets just after Christmas. And in some ways, we've sewered this part of the season to not being able to compete and get to Orlando to play in the Cup for the Cup championship for G League. So in some ways, I could say this: that it could be that the rookies, and this may be seeming like it's backwards stepping to some fans, that they go and play more in the G League in January than they did this fall. And I mean, it may have a lot to do with the injuries, and because our guys are back, the more veteran guys, and they still want to get them time on the court. And then maybe the G League team, the 905, will do way better in the regular season of the G League. That's what I'm hoping. I mean, I could see this happening. In some ways, like with Jamison Battle specifically, he has a limited amount of games that he can appear in on a two-way contract. And it could very well be that at a certain point, because we've used so many of his games at the big club, that we have to play him more on 905 just to keep him going because he's not eligible to play on the Raptors main squad unless we convert his two-way. So we'll have to see how that all goes. We could convert his two-way by the end of the year. The way he's playing, he does deserve it. And he probably could be a very good factor on our team in the years to come if we get him on a good contract and keep him around on the main squad. We don't want Jamison Battle to take off and go somewhere else. We want to keep him in-house. So we are going to probably want to give him a regular contract by the end of this year, just so we all are on the same page. DJ Carton posting the guys celebrating on the side of the court during the great game against Greensboro Swarm in the Scotiabank Arena on Thursday morning. There you go. Carton got in trouble last night. It was weird, man. There was a moment in the game last night where we got a tech from the bench, and it was because Carton said something to the referees. So, yeah, that was kind of funny. He was sitting with Shamshay on the bench, and he said something, and then, like, the refs teched him up. And then he was, like, looking at Shamshay. He's like, I don't know what I did or what I said exactly. And Shamshay was laughing with him. They were just sitting on the bench and laughing. So I have no idea what DJ Carton did to get a technical like that. He said something to the refs that they didn't like, and they teed him up. And he was in street clothes. He was just sitting on the bench. Toronto tempo stuff continues to come out, guys. And there's more and more explanations about what's going on. Of course, they had the WNBA expansion draft yesterday for the Golden State Valkyries. And I was very surprised some of the names that the Valkyries were able to scoop up. And I was totally worried about this. You know, if things had gone right, they would have been in an expansion draft with another team. Instead of having the cupboard to just go pick whatever they wanted, there was no competitive team picking against them in this expansion draft. So in some ways, the Golden State Valkyries had a benefit in the expansion draft yesterday, that they could basically go to every WNBA team, current, and look for the seventh best player, because they protected their top six. The WNBA teams protect their top six from the expansion draft, and then whoever's left over, they can be picked up and snatched up by the Valkyries. Well, there's some very good names that were snatched up by the Valkyries from my experience in WNBA fantasy and watching the league. And I was shocked at some of the names they got. Some of the names of note: Kate Martin from the Las Vegas Aces was acquired by the Valkyries yesterday. Temi Fabrigili from the Fever was picked up. The center for the Indiana team that actually played really well, was hurt a lot last year, but a veteran that's played very well. And I think the reasoning was because she's older and they thought that they could let her go. Another player that I was shocked that the Valkyries were able to get yesterday was Kayla Thornton from the Knicks. They got Kayla Thornton, and they also got Monique Billings from Atlanta. So I'm shocked. This is a really good start for this Valkyries team. And in some ways, I'm mad because we're going to come in the year with Portland, and we're going to be in an expansion draft different than Golden State, because we're going to have to pick the same time as Portland is. And they can have, it's going to be every other, you know. So in some ways, the talent pool that we could have gotten from is not going to be as good as Golden State, because Golden State got first dibs and nobody competing with them in their expansion draft. And we're going to have another team drafting the same time as us. So it's not fair in some ways. If they had done this correctly, if things had gone right and MLSC had not screwed up the bid for WNBA, we would have done our expansion draft yesterday, guys, because we would have been on the schedule that Golden State is on right now, and we would have been a 50-50 picking with them. So half of the team players that the Valkyries got yesterday could have been Toronto Tempo players. And that's annoying to me. It is. In some ways, it really did screw us up that they rejected the initial bid, the invite to be in the WNBA. MLSC did. It did screw us up. Kilmer Group coming back around, circle around. It's great. We're going to get a team up here, but we're on a schedule behind where we were supposed to be, which is the one we're supposed to be with Golden State right now. And that sucks, man. We'd have players right now if we had not rejected the first bid. And I hate that. I hate that, man. So, yeah, that's what's going on. We're seeing more and more ads, and Teresa Resch has put this out. Tempo is a pace. It's a speed. It's a heartbeat. I knew the word heartbeat was going to be very much a part of this Toronto Tempo team that we're building right now, because tempo, a heartbeat is a tempo. And that in some ways, a heartbeat is a life. A heartbeat is a pulse. A heartbeat is necessary for life in some ways. So that's a very cool kind of motif they're building with the tempo, with heartbeat and pace. And I like that. It was officially announced yesterday that the official colors of the WNBA Toronto Tempo team will be Nike Boudreaux and hydrogen blue. And if you're wondering, they said that the colors were red and blue, but they're lying. They're not. To me, the red is a misnomer. The blue is a blue. Hydrogen blue is that color that we're seeing in the ads for the Tempo right now. That is the blue. That's the blue. But that purple is the purple. They're calling that red, though. That's not red. That is not red. That is a purple. That is a violet. That is that shade. That is more in that shade, not a red. I mean, technically, maybe some color snobs would say that's a red, but I don't see it as a red. That's a purple. And the Nike Boudreaux is exactly what it sounds like. They say Nike in it. Well, it's because Nike, the foot gear company, has made an own special, like purple kind of like, you know, to me, it kind of looks like a purple sherbet flavor color, you know, like you have rainbow sherbet and there may be the purple color ice cream. It kind of looks like that. It kind of looks like a grape kind of color that you'd have candy when you're a kid. And you like, there's some candy that would come in that color and you're like, this is grape candy. You know, the color is very well known to shoe enthusiasts like PJ Tucker, because they collect Jordans, they collect different shoes, and there's that Boudreaux color is one that's very popular by Nike shoe collector enthusiasts. And that may be part of the reason why they chose it, because it's a very hip color to shoe collectors. And Nike Boudreaux is very much a color that was trademarked and put together by the shoe company. So Nike. So if you want to know what it looks like, you can go and look it up on Google, and you can see what it looks like on the shoes. And that is the purple color we're using with that powder blue, hydrogen blue color. I don't mind the color scheme. I think it's pretty cool. And that purple is a really interesting color. In some ways, it is an homage and a connection to the Raptors of sharing a kind of color, purple color. If they're not named in a dinosaur way, at least the color scheme has some connections to the early Raptors purple also. So that's how it looks. So Nike Boudreaux and hydrogen blue are the official names of the colors, just so y'all know. There you go. They got the Raptors talking about the Tempo team and the name. RJ Barrett, Kelly Olynyk, and Chris Boucher getting interviewed talking about the new Toronto Tempo and how it's cool and saying, nice things about it. They're really excited about it. And, I'm getting more and more excited about it too. They have the wait list for the season tickets. You can sign up now to get on the waiting list to get first access at being a season ticket holder for the Toronto Tempo in their first season. So check that out for sure. Yeah, the wait list is there. Yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, I was shocked to see who they were able to get for the Valkyries. What a squad. Monique Billings, Veronica Burton, Maria Conde, Teme Fabangeli, Fabinelli. I'm sorry, I'm saying it wrong. Carla Lete, Kate Martin, Ileana Rupert, Stephanie Talbot, Kayla Thornton, Julie Van Loo, and Cecilia Zanda Lassini. So that's who they picked up. And Seattle Storm didn't have to give anybody for some reason. They didn't select anybody from Seattle, but those other players from the other teams were. OG Anunoby's been very active in social media recently, which is weird. He had an interview the other night after the game with one of the Knicks announcers, and he took the microphone from the man's hand and started talking to it like this. And the guy afterwards like, hey, OG, I'll just hold the mic from now on. And Kat even told him when he's walking by him, he's saying, OG, don't grab the mic from the interviewer. I don't know. OG just has something to say. He wants to make sure he's heard. So he's taking the mic and he's holding it to his mouth. We love you, OG. In some ways, the announcer is saying, OG, we don't see you smile much, but you were smiling during the game today. It was like, yeah, OG's OG. Let OG be OG. Just let OG be OG, guys. He's going to be OG's going to be OG. OG's going to be OG. Yeah, he had 2 blocks on 3-pointers right in a row in the game, apparently, and people were all about that. So, yeah, OG, you're a badass. We'll see you on Monday, my guy. We'll see you on Monday. Dylan Disu's got some cool people wearing cool clothes standing on the stairs. I don't know who those people are, but they're cool. I know that. And there's Jamal Shed showing he's playing Drake's song. Well, he got to play in front of Drake the other day when he played against Oklahoma City Thunder. That was probably a little bit of a pinch me moment. Every single time he's got to play with Drake at courtside, I'm sure that's felt something weird to Jamal Shed. A little surreal, I'll bet. A little surreal, seeing as he's a huge Drake fan. Very, very big Drake fan. Davion Mitchell showing highlights of him working out. Get better, Davion. We want you better because, man, we need you back out there as soon as possible. We need you tonight, bro, against Kyrie. Let's just put it that way. SGA, when he was posting his logo thing, apparently he came out with a new shoe while he was in Toronto. So there's new shoes that SGA just came out, and that was kind of the post that he had made the other night. Slim Duck is posting just a very basic God thank you and prayer hands. Something good must have happened to Slim Duck in the last 24 hours that he is showing gratitude and praising the Lord for good things coming in his life. I love it. I love to see that Chris Boucher is good things happening. And there's Grady Dick celebrating his line from the game the other day. He was the player of the game for me for the Raptors against Oklahoma City. 15 points, 4 3-pointers made, and 2 steals. Yeah, Grady Dick. There's your Instagram stories for this morning on a Saturday. Yeah, we're getting through this chat. We getting through this chat here and there. Let's see what else you guys are saying. I see some more people have come into the chat. Monique is here. Good to see Superfan Mo. Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Let's bounce back tonight. Yeah, I have a feeling that the Mavericks may have more weaknesses than the Thunder. I have a feeling that maybe, hopefully, I mean, if Mitchell plays, this would really help, but it may be trouble without him, that our defense could be a problem for these guys in certain ways from what we've seen. I mean, I want Davion Mitchell healthy and out there. He is questionable for today. And man, that would really help. Like I said, I keep saying it against Kyrie Irving. It would really, really help if Davion's out there to chase him down. But if he's not, we might be in trouble with Kyrie Irving in some ways. We may be in trouble. Yeah, Isaac's saying it's going to be a battle. Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. The Mavericks are on a 6-game winning streak. They've beaten good teams and bad teams during that win streak. And they've got some top level players. That some people say they have a big three. I don't think they have a big three. They have a big duo in Luka and Kyrie. And Klay Thompson, I don't give him that kind of superstar status everybody does. In some ways, he's just a great shooter. He's not really a fleshed out great player overall. He was always around Steph Curry, and that inflated his importance and inflated how good he is. I've never ever believed fully in Klay Thompson being who everybody thinks he is. And in some ways, his struggles since his injury return in the last few years have shown that he isn't all that, honestly. He really isn't. So we'll see. Hopefully he doesn't come out and kill us tonight because, in some ways I said something and then all of a sudden he does kill us. I hate that. Let's see. Fiercely saying nobody picked from the Seattle Storm. Why is that? I don't know the specifics for sure, Fiercely, because I didn't investigate it. In some ways, it could very well be that that they didn't want the players that they unprotected. There's also something that where the WNBA teams that have that they're getting picked from, they have the ability to match with compensation with money to hold off from losing the player. So that could very well be that the Storm were going to have a lady picked, but they decided to pay a little bit of money to protect them to stay on their team. Because that is I heard that was a possibility with how the expansion draft works with the WNBA, that if they pay a little bit of money, they can actually not have their player taken. But a lot of the teams don't care. And they're in financial situations where they can't. But maybe the Storm were able to for some reason. That could be that the people that they had left available were not attractive to the team in picking. And it could all be that they only had 11 spots that they are 12, I guess. Yeah, it'd be 11 spots and out of 12 teams. And there was going to be one team that wasn't going to get somebody selected from anyway. So I don't know. Mo's saying last night 9:05 game reminded me of Raptors versus OKC loss. Not really. I mean, not to me. I mean, if it's because of the scoring, that's just the margin. In some ways, they're not very similar. The Raptors played a pretty solid game. It's just that the Thunder are so good, and they really don't make any mistakes. And when we made little mistakes, and there weren't that many, honestly, the Raptors played at a high level. It's just we didn't have Jakob. We were disorganized on our offense, and we had a hard time scoring against them. Now, the difference is the 9:05, they have opportunities to score. They're just idiots. I shouldn't say idiots. They're just not able to, without any of those rookies down there, to have a substantial level of professionalism that can play. In some ways, I get it. The score margins are similar, Monique, but other than that, nothing is similar, honestly, because the Raptors playing a high level, playing one of the top teams in the NBA. And in some ways, the G League team is just screwing up and not playing very well at all. And I wouldn't compare 9:05 to the Raptors right now. Seriously. If the rookies are there and they can play at a higher level, yeah, maybe they're a little bit more like the Raptors. But no, I don't get this comparison other than the scores were similar. That's the only way you could say that. Let's see. Fiercely saying, is PJ Tucker still in the league? Last time around, he was a Clipper. Yeah, he got waived and left the Clippers because he didn't want to be around there anymore. And I don't think anybody picked him up. So I think he's done. I just mentioned him because he is known as a very big time shoe collector, that he has a very vast collection of athletic basketball shoes from his years over the NBA. And he collects like really sought out ones. Like he'll buy very expensive Jordans that are very rare and just to have in his collection. It's just like Miles Turner loves Legos. Well, PJ Tucker loves shoes, and he knows all about Nike Boudreaux. Let's just put it that way. He knows all about that color. He probably say like the technical terms of all the colors of the shoes. Yeah, Wayne saying, is Jakob available tonight in our continuing homestand? We need to see one more player making a season debut. I don't know. I mean, officially, like I'm saying, he's questionable right now. The official word on the list right now is he's has illness. He's questionable for the Saturday's game against the Mavericks, according to Josh Lewenberg of TSN. So, yeah, I don't know. Questionable is questionable. He may be there. He could be feeling better as the day goes on, and all of a sudden, yeah, Jakob, you going to play? Yes, coach, I'd like to return and play. And I hope that's true. I mean, him and Mitchell could really help us tonight. Now, if the trade-off is we're getting Jakob back and Kelly Olynyk back tonight, but we're losing Davion Mitchell, well, we'll see how that goes. That could be good in some ways. We could see Jacoby Walter tying up Kyrie Irving a bit himself, or Oshai Baji is going to have to be leaned on a lot more. Jamal Shed may get more minutes, possibly, if Davion Mitchell is out today. For sure he will. For sure he will. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what's going on with all that. But yeah, Yak is questionable right now due to illness. But that kind of stuff, if it is an illness, he gets better during the day. He feels better. Maybe he does suit up today. We'll have to see. Fiercely saying OG doing OG things. That's right. We know OG. We know his personality. We know his playfulness. We know his silent playfulness that's hidden from the world. That is the people in the know and behind the scenes know all about it. But the face he shows the world is sometimes very serious, but not really if you really pay attention. Yeah, I thought it was funny. That guy, he grabbed that dude's microphone. Everybody's making a big deal out of it. I mean, I think that OG in the New York's ecosystem is hilarious because OG is the same OG he was in Toronto, and he has all these foibles and weird stuff. And New York fans are weird. They can be very judgmental and very picky and very mean, very, very bullying. But OG in some ways is a special guy. He's very, very weird and quirky. And in some ways, they love him so much they've had to kind of be like, yeah, this dude's weird, but man, he's so good on the court. That's kind of the way it's been going with the Knicks Nation and OG this year since he got traded to them from us. Is that they're like, this guy's really weird. And like, I totally get him, but man, I love what he's doing. You know, I don't totally get him, but I love what he's doing on the court. And I think that that's kind of funny to me because in some ways, all right, look, as long as OG's doing well, they won't turn on him. They'll treat him like a hero, a hometown hero. But if he goes through a bad slouch and like he's not playing well for a little while, they could turn on him and could be very cruel to him about his quirks and eccentricities. So I don't know. OG being an OG in New York is interesting because those New York fans are unforgiving and they can be very ugly and toxic. But he's good with them. They love him. And in some ways, I go and look at posts about OG and they're like, why is he so weird? But I love him. It's kind of how they're acting with him. He's so weird, but I love him. Wayne's saying, I think Lively plays for Dallas. He's a lob threat. In the paint is going to be very Jermaine. Yeah, Jermaine Jackson, Jermaine O'Neal. You know, Lively is a force. Lively is annoying. Lively is of energy personified big that is absolutely a threat and dangerous. And he is a pilot light for that team that sparks them up and gets them going. I would really love to have Jakob available for this. In some ways, we may need Mobo to really guard on Lively a bit. So maybe there is a case to start, Jonathan, if Jakob is not available to play today, because he's a younger, quicker, and energetic guy that can keep up with Lively in some ways, probably better than Fernando. So I don't know. In some ways, if you're looking at the matchups, Coach Rajakovic, and you don't get Pirtle back today, you might want to start J-Mo. He's kind of earned it with what he's been doing recently and allow him to kind of shadow Derek Lively and try and slow him down. If anything, he can kind of get in between him getting lobs and just kind of be a shit disturber because that is going to be a factor. We're going to need somebody active and lively to cover Lively. And, you know, it may be J-Mo is the best option on this one. You know, I think it might be true. Stargate saying, good morning, Raptor Freak family. There's a player that believes the tempo is going to target purely for attention and promotional value. It's an international player whom I believe isn't currently in the league at the moment. There's a player that they're going to target that you know about already. All right. I kind of want to know what her name is, Stargate. If you know the name, you need to tell me so we can figure out what's going on with this. Because I want to know more and more. I mean, this is way too early to do this. And in some ways, maybe we shouldn't talk about this because they can't do anything right now. And some other team may hear what we're talking about in the buzz and go and try and get this person before we even have any chance because we don't even have a coach or a GM. That's the next thing they're going to do with the Toronto Tempo is they're going to hire a general manager. And they want to do that in the next couple of weeks. They'll hire a general manager, but they're not in a hurry to hire a coach. So they're going to have a general manager for the Toronto Tempo in the near future, and they will be helping to shape the decision making and getting us established for what we're trying to plan and do as a team. But yeah, the coach may be something they add later. In some ways, they may want to decide the coach partly on the personnel that's starting to form for the team roster. Because in some ways, it may be smart to make a coach that fits with the players that you're actually getting. So I don't know if do you hire the coach before the expansion draft next year at this time? Or do you, get the coach after you get the players because you think the coach will fit with the players better? I don't know. We'll have to see how they handle it. The GM's next on the to-do list. They're going to hire a GM in the next month, guys. And we'll have a Toronto Tempo GM, general manager, Bobby Webster, for them very, very soon. I don't know who this player is. I don't want to know. Let's not talk about it. There's already been a leak this week. And if there's a great player internationally that the WNBA Toronto Tempo are looking at, let's shh. Well, I don't want to know. It's too soon. We are not ready for anything right now because we just have a name right now. That's it. Let's see. David's here. Good to see Commissioner Trivia. David Saborn has returned to the chat. So good to see David in here. Lively does play for Dallas, Wayne. If we don't have Yak, it's going to be tough. Destroyed in the paint. Well, this is why I think that J-Mo could really show some shine here. Because listen, Lively's only been in the league for 1 year. He's in his second year now. And he is this very impactful player. But so is Jonathan. And Jonathan's got a similar size and length to his arms. And he also has the get up and go and the get after it like him. So if anybody's going to be able to shadow Derek Lively well today, I think it's Jonathan Mobo. If not, somebody like Scotty. I mean, Scotty may take it upon himself to say, yeah, I'm going to try and stop this guy from throwing it down on our heads. And I'm going to start blocking him and guarding him too. Either way, we hope that Jakob is healthy and he can return to the lineup today. But if not, well, what are we going to do? It could very well be, like I said, Kelly Olynyk's returning tonight. And maybe he has something to say about this too. That could be helpful. I don't think Fernando is part of the answer. Let's just put it that way. I don't think he's part of the answer. And in some ways, after the start in the last game, I would like to see Bruno maybe out of the rotation today. Or if he has to be the backup center coming in to help us that way, that's fine. But he should not start. And I don't think we should be asking him to do much of the heavy lifting on defense tonight. So, yeah, good. Thank you, David. Thank you for the comment. And you know what? Why not, since David's here, let's do the classic card of the day, y'all. The Commissioner Trivia is in the house. What's up, David Saborn? Good to see you, my guy. All right, there you go. You know what? We've had this guy. We kind of talked. No, did we talk about him? No, we didn't. We didn't have this guy. All right, we're going to do this guy. All right, here we go. Classic card of the day. First person to write in the full name answer of the person on this card, this basketball card, will get points to the Raptor Freak Trivia score. It's a very, very interesting top 10 that's going on with the Raptor Freak Trivia. And yeah, if you got up there, you want to get more points, get them right now. Here you go. Here is your classic card of the day. I'll bring it up close so you can kind of see them, because in some ways you may need to be able to see them to get this one. It's a Spur, obviously, San Antonio Spur, and this is a classic card. This is not a recent card, just so y'all know. Upper Deck. I don't know what year this is exactly, but yeah, if you can tell who that player is, you're going to get the classic card of the day. Yeah, I'll give you some clues if you guys get stymied, but hopefully you guys can figure it out by looking at it and identifying the classic card. This is how we honor the future, the past of the NBA, the past players, the past people that have played in the NBA, and we remember them is with classic cards, because honestly, we get some really scrubby players that barely played in the league, and we remember them on this channel that most people would just forget about them. There we go. Smooth does know. Like, so fiercely saying, where is Smooth and where is he? Well, he's right there. Reggie is here, and he has gotten it. It is Rod Strickland in his period of time when he was on the Spurs. Of course, Rod Strickland played for the Raptors briefly also. So this is former Raptor Rod Strickland when he was on the Spurs. There you go. I believe he played for DePaul. Is that the school he played for? Yes, that is the name of the college on there. There is Rod. Rod Strickland was a great point guard. And in fact, I very much enjoyed Rod Strickland playing in the league. Of course, he was on the Knicks originally in his beginning of his career when Mark Jackson was there also. And there was a little bit of a point guard controversy in New York. And then I remember some really good years of his in Washington when he was the kind of guy that was in the assist leaders every year. And he actually a very good stealer too. And the thing about Rod that was fun is that he was very creative with his passing. He was a joy to watch. He was a very, very excellent passer with some very, very high level stuff. So Rod Strickland, classic card of the day. Smooth has got it. And, honestly, it's not a totally difficult card. So I'm going to give you 100 points. So 100 points for getting Rod Strickland today. Good job, uh, Smooth Brown Man. Adding to your lead. Once again, 100 points for Rod Strickland, New York basketball point guard. There you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. Fiercely saying, thanks for explaining. Storm has a very good roster overall. Diggins, Clark, Lloyd, Ongunga, Mikey, etc. Hard to let go of them, and Valkyries would need to pay money. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know exactly the rules. In some ways, I should get brushed up on this kind of stuff more. But, also it's an expansion draft. And sometimes, not every team's going to have to give up a player. It may be more indicative of the Storm have a really good top six. But after that, the players are not a little bit like that because every WNBA team was able to protect their top six players, 5 starters and a 6th woman. And that was it. The rest of the bench was available to be plucked from. And that's just how expansion drafts work. Let's see. Fiercies say, yeah, need to play money. Yes, said David. Lively is solid. We need Big Yak. Yeah, but is Lively a true center? That's what I'm saying. Or is he a 6'10" guy with long wingspan that it plays big because he jumps high and throws it down? That in some ways, Jakob may not be the best player to guard him because we may need somebody quicker to really watch him because he may be attacking the rim with lobs and stuff like that. And Jakob could be just getting it thrown down on him. That's why I think Mobo is the guy. That's why I think Mobo's mobility and his arm length and his combination of speed with size, like Scotty, these guys are the best guys to guard him. Those two, even Chris could get out there and be a shit disturber on Derek Lively and trying to make it harder for him to get going with doing anything near the basket. Even though Chris is not the biggest guy, he's very strong at this point, and he can be a little bit of a speed bump in some ways. But it's about being quick and long, about trying to guard Derek Lively. And that's why I like Mobo, Barnes, Boucher, trying to slow him down. That's right. Oshai Baji should probably get a healthy dose of that kid, Luka Doncic. Yeah. Oshai Baji on Luka is going to be a huge, huge, important matchup for the Raptors. And hopefully we can just dog Luka. Luka's a lazy player to an extent. And in some ways, if we give him a lot of obstacles and hard time with the way we've been playing our defense recently, the way we work, it could very well be that Luka has a bad game tonight because he's getting a lot of resistance that's a little bit more extra than most NBA teams is throwing at him. So we'll have to see that. This is something that happens with Doncic sometimes, where the offense, his offense is not as totally good because the defense is really up on him. So we'll have to see. Let's see. Stargate saying if they bring her in here, they will love her in Toronto. I don't know who it is. I kind of don't want to know. The less we talk about it, maybe somebody else won't snake and take that person. In some ways, it's way too early. We cannot acquire anybody until a year from now. The expansion draft today or yesterday is the time when we're going to finally get players, and that's a year from now. So let's wait and maybe hush, top secret, Val Kilmer. Top secret, Val Kilmer. Look at that. I made a really bad 80s movie reference. Top secret, Val Kilmer. You know. There you go. All right, let's see. Wayne saying Raptor Freaks channel Scotty and RJ to give role players their early touches. Can't have a player running up and down and touching the damn ball. We don't beat good teams without Darko's philosophy. Okay, I'm trying to understand what you're saying exactly. Raptor Freak channel, RJ and Scotty to give roles players their early buckets. Okay, I think I understand what you're saying. Scotty and RJ are leaders of this team, and in some ways, they're the guys who can get other people involved and allowing them to get good high percentage shots and get going. They've both done it in different ways. In some ways, the driving kick is an obvious one with RJ Barrett or Scotty. There's also Scotty's great court vision of looking up the court and trying to accelerate the ball up the court to get people easy baskets in transition. These are all different ways that they can help get guys going, whether it's, getting Oshai an open three where he hits the three or getting Oshai in transition where he gets a nice layup over the other team. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways. And specifically with Grady, they need to find ways to help Grady get good high percentage open shots. And, if Jakob's not out there, once again, can we ask Scotty to do this? If Pirtle is not available today, Could you do an impression of him, Scott? Could you come out there and say, I'm Jakob tonight. I'm going to be Austrian, and come out on the court and do everything you think Jakob does for the Raptors, except you channel his essence and what he does yourself, Scott. And you get in that high post, you play that hub spot that he does, because you can do it. You can do it really well. And just say, oh, I'm Jakob. I'm throwing all the screens. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. If you could do this, Scott, that may very much help us tonight. In some ways, like I said, if you can do impressions of missing players that we're missing from our lineup, Jakob impression tonight could very much help us. So, yeah, Scott, consider going in with a Pirtle mindset and trying to do your best impersonation of him. In some ways, you could be effective at doing some of the Pirtle stuff. You have the skills and the physicality to do it in some ways. Yeah, I want to see that. I want to see that. Let's see. Fiercey saying at Stargate, international players would be nice. Someone open-minded who embrace Toronto's diversity and flair. Yeah, I mean, this is what the Open Gym episode is on this week, about the international flavor that Colangelo and Garadini and Bargnani and all that happened in that era of the late 2000s with the Raptors. You know, it just makes sense. I mean, if you're in the same market and you got the same kind of issues that the Toronto Raptors have in the NBA, it'd be in the Toronto Tempo in the WNBA, you know, mimicking some of the past of success for the Raptors with the Tempo is smart. And going into getting an international flavor for your team is a smart strategy. In some ways, we may find a factor similar to the Raptors where American women that play in the WNBA are not totally thrilled about playing in Canada. And in some ways, this is a great way to get around it and that open the door internationally and bring women from all around the world and other leagues and put them on our team. In fact, I wouldn't be unhappy if our team was primarily international for our WNBA team. If we had more women that were from all around the world, including Canada, very much including Canada, that would be very fun. In some ways, that was very much part of the catalyst that helped the Raptors get towards the championship, was going international and changing the persona of wanting to be here with the players that were coming here. Because it got real dark after Vince and that whole thing happened with his exit, with people wanting to play for the Raptors. And we had to rebuild an attractiveness to our city for players to want to play here professionally. So I think this just makes sense that Teresa Resch, the GM of the Toronto Tempo that's coming in, need to target international and specifically homegrown players here in Canada. Yeah, I'm all about that. I'm all about that for sure. I think that's a really, really smart idea. Let's see. Stargate saying, think who would give huge viability to this team. She isn't great, but she will definitely bring attention and butts in the seat. You're trying to make a guessing game with this for me? Like, who would it be? I mean, most of the women that I know play basketball are already in the WNBA. I mean, I can't say Kia Nurse because she's on her broadcast and she's under a contract, but she's a free agent this summer. Actually, she said this off season. I shouldn't say summer because they have a winter off. And she said she's not under contract with the Sparks anymore, which was the team she was on last year, or the Storm. She was on one of those two teams. You know, I don't know. I don't know who it is. I can't go by this. Maybe it's somebody who played in the Olympics this summer and what isn't in the WNBA already. I have no idea. You're gonna have to spell it out to me, Stargate. I'm not knowledgeable enough on the women's basketball side of things to be able to pull a name out of the ether, just out of the blue. Let's see. Wayne saying, "Oops, not to touch the ball." What, Kelly playing? Great. Yeah. I think that Kelly hopefully will be back today. I mean, it'd be nice. I mean, we could use him back, especially if Jakob's going to miss another game right now. It could very well be Kelly starts tonight right away. They maybe not. It's not likely probably, but it could be that they're like, yeah, we're going to start Kelly at center tonight because we do need a starting center. That could be in the cards. We'll have to see. Name is saying, I think the team purposely held Jakob out of the lineup against OKC because A, they might win, and B, they wanted to create good videotape footage. No, I think that he was just sick. I think that in some ways, the whole idea, I mean, I get it. In some ways, waiting so long to bring Bruce back and Manuel and being extra careful with these guys, I think they really are babying them, and they want them to be as 100% if they are going to be playing. And they don't want them playing with lingering injuries. In some ways, Dr. Alex is probably like, you put guys out there and they're not well, they're more likely to get more hurt. And in some ways, if we're in the mode we're in right now, which is a rebuild, and in some ways it's not totally trying to win all out, letting guys like really, really rest up and be absolutely 100%. I see the philosophy in this. It could very well be that some of these guys could have played already and made their season debut. Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk, Emmanuel quickly might have been able to come back already. Grady Dick may have not needed to miss 5 games, that he only missed the 5 games as a precautionary, and he may have been ready to come back after 1 or 2 games out. But they really wanted to make sure he was 100% healed. So that's the kind of thing that's going on here. Jakob has an illness. He's sick. He's sick because it's probably winter and, flu bugs and things just happen like this around this time of year. It's not an injury or anything like that. And, you notice Jakob was not at the game against Oklahoma City. He was not sitting on the bench because he was probably contagious, and he was probably had to be quarantined or, in his bed because he's that sick. So who knows? We have to find out. In some ways, if he's been sick the last couple of days, he may have missed practices, and there may be a little bit of are you ready to come back? Are you feeling strong enough to come back and play in an NBA game? So we'll have to see. He's questionable today, and that's not out of the realm of possibility. He's going to play. I mean, him and Kelly and Davion have the same status. They're all questionable, and any of them could be playing. I'm going to say at least one of them will be playing out of the 3 of them. I'm going to say that right now. I'm predicting one of the questionable guys will be playing tonight for sure. Yeah. Let's see. Fiercey was saying, where's Smooth? And Smooth was there. He got it. Rod Strickland is the right one. Name is saying they wanted to cause a bunch of errors that Yak may cover up so they can talk about them. I don't think it's that it's like that. I think that if they could have had Jakob play against the Thunder, they would have. And I don't think that we were going to beat them either way. Even if Jakob had played, I think instead of a 30-point loss, it's like a 10-point loss instead. I don't think we were going to beat them. They're a very good team. And, you said you thought there was ref manipulation yesterday. Now you're saying that, holding out Yak was a big reason why we lost. No, the Thunder are good. We need to give them their credit. They're a very good team. And I'm not going to say the refs helped them. I'm not going to say that our injury would have helped us either. I think they were going to beat us either way because they're just like that. And they're at a different level of where they are building up their young core than where we are with our very beginning of our start of building up a young core. But we're similar to them. It's just that they're like us maybe a year or 2 from now. Who knows? Maybe they're like us and at the end of the year almost. We're really high level and doing better. But the experience they've been gaining as a young core in the last couple of years and adding 2 vets like Hartenstein and Caruso is going to help them in the playoffs this year. But yeah, it's just they're in a different part of the escalator. They're higher up in what they've been doing and building. And that's part of it right there. Yeah, let's see. All right, let's see. David's just lurking is what he's saying right there. That's Rod Strickland. That's right. That is Rod Strickland. That is exactly right with the classic car of the day. Good job, guys. Good job. Fiercey's clapping. Mo's saying, sorry to make you moody on the 905. No, I'm not moody about it. I just don't think that the comparison you made is apropos, partly because, really it's only the margin. The scores look like that. But the play on the court, very different. Very, very high-level play in the Oklahoma City game with the Raptors and very horrible play last night in Paramount with the Westchester Knicks and 905. It's just the scores are similar. But everything else there's not really a lot in common. Really isn't. It's just the scores. And it's not moodiness, Mo. I just want to make sure we get this right. If you see the comparison, that's for you in your own mind. But to me, the only thing that's comparable is that there's a route. That's it. That's the only thing that's comparable is there's a route. That's it. Yeah. Smooth saying, I remember him from the Knicks. Yeah, he was a very good rookie. And he caused controversy for the Knicks immediately because Mark Jackson was the guy. He was running things there. And when Rod Strickland showed up, he kind of made things kind of duplicitous and kind of well, who are you going to go with? In the end, Mark Jackson went out and Rod Strickland was the guy that was the odd man out. And that's why he was a journeyman after that and went all over the league. But yeah, that's kind of how it all worked out there with that Knicks point guard controversy in the early 90s. Yeah. Derps is saying, Derps, good morning to you, Derps. Pirtle is not on the same timeline, but sure he can stay a bit, however long that is. Yeah, I don't understand. People talking about timelines and stuff. I don't get this bullshit. Seriously, what is a timeline? We're all on the same timeline. It doesn't matter if you're 88 years old or you're 8 years old right now. We're on the same timeline. I don't give a shit if that's a kid and you're a grandpa. We're living in the same time. That's why I never got this argument by some Raptors fans saying, oh, we can't have these guys on the team with Scotty because they're not on the same timeline. What the fuck does that mean? They're in the NBA at the same time. What does that mean? Seriously. Timeline doesn't matter. In some ways, to have the best team possible, you need people in different levels of their career. And the whole idea that your whole entire team has to be the same age is stupid. I thought this whole movement where everybody, all these NBA fans think, oh, you have to have the same timeline with everybody. It's so dumb. Let's just get rid of this whole idea, derps. Oh, no offense, man. But it doesn't matter. Timeline is they're in the NBA at the same time. You know, it's like, look, you need a mix of vets and young guys. The Oklahoma City Thunder found that out last year. You can't just go in there with a bunch of young guys. You're not going to get far in the playoffs. And that's what happened to them. So what did they do? In the offseason, they went out and got Alex Caruso and Hartenstein. And in some ways, Caruso's not on the same timeline as SGA, is he? No, he isn't. What is this bullshit? Come on now. Let's not perpetuate dumb shit. This kind of like, oh, Jakob can stay, but he's not on the right timeline. What is this? This doesn't make no sense. They're in the same team on the same time. It's the same timeline. It doesn't matter what age they are or where they are and stuff like that. It's just what it is. It's just what it is. You know, Jakob could stay on this team long enough to get a championship with us, with Scotty. Let's not get it twisted. This man's not even 30 yet. And if we invest in him right and we keep investing in him with contracts, he could very well be the starting center of our next championship, you know? So, I mean, I just think that the whole idea of timeline is silly and stupid. And a lot of young NBA fans and a lot of NBA experts think timeline matters. I don't think it does, because guys are in the NBA. They're on the same team. They're on the same timeline to me. It doesn't matter how many years or what their age is. It doesn't matter. They're there together at the same time. That's the same timeline. Name say there's only a few true centers in today's game, and we've got possibly the best. I don't know if we could say that. I mean, that's awesome. I like that attitude, Nameless, but I don't know if we can say that. Jakob is a top 10 center. I really do believe that. And a lot of people would disagree with me around the NBA. General NBA fans would not probably agree with that. But they are not paying attention this year. This dude has been putting up crazy numbers, and he's having a career year. So if there's any year that he's a top 10 center in the league, it's right now. And, you know, it's a weird thing. Like, it's a weird thing. The few true centers, like, what do you mean? Like Jokic and Embiid? You have to be a legit 7-footer and a big pivot postman, and you're not a power forward center hybrid like Derek Lively, because he's not really a true center. You know, Porzingis, is he a true center even though he's so freaking tall? I don't know. Is Wembayama a true center? Yeah, I guess you're right. There aren't very many true centers in the league at this point. That's probably true. Let's see. David's saying Boucher can keep up with Lively. He can slow him down for sure. Mobo to start, Boucher off the bench. Yeah, I can get behind this, David. I can get behind this. I mean, we'll have to see what Darko decides. And it may very well be game time decisions on how Jakob feels. You know, we may not know. Jakob may have diarrhea or throwing up, or he may have some crazy ass fever that's like a very high temperature, and he just feels like crap. You know, we don't know. In some ways, David may show up. I mean, not David. Jakob may show up and be like, "Yeah, coach, I'm ready to go. I feel fantastic." And boom, he's playing for us tonight. That's the great thing about illness and not injury, is that he's not. He could be healthy really fast all of a sudden and available. That's awesome. Yeah. Most saying, David, I said something on the 905 that Lex didn't like. It's not that I didn't like it. You know, the whole thing is, Mo, you and I agree on so much. Like, I would say we agree on like 95% of everything. It's just that sometimes some of your takes I don't totally agree with. And that's all it is. And it's okay for us to disagree. It's nothing wrong with that. It's not like I'm totally right or you're totally right either. It's just that we have perceptions from our own individual standpoints, and they may not always line up all the time. I mean, I'm just being nitpicky in some ways. I could be like, yeah, you're right, Mo. The games were very similar, but to me, they weren't. Watching them, they were not very similar. I saw a very well played game by two teams on Thursday night at Scotiabank Arena, and I saw a game last night at Paramount Fine Food Center where one team was absolutely horrible and the other team was way better. So it's apples to oranges to me, at least in my mind. But we can allow for each other to have different perspectives. There's totally fine with it. Yeah, it's not that I totally didn't like it. It's just that I wanted to espouse on my side of my perception of the opinion. And it didn't totally line up with yours. That's all. That's all. I don't want to be nitpicky or turn you off. It's just that, we can't agree on everything, Mo. That'd be weird if we agreed on everything. We do agree on a lot. We do agree on a lot. That's for sure. Nameless is saying, we got the best player that does what centers are supposed to do best. The scary thing is Yak is not done development. Oh, no, he ain't. This is a weird thing. And he's right. I thought that Jakob was pretty much the player he was going to be last year. I didn't think that this would happen this year, where he would go even further with some of the things he's done. Some of it is the volume and the amount of how much he's been scoring and doing everything is on a new level than he ever has done. In some ways, we've put more responsibility on him and more work that he has to do, and he's flourished and he's made amazing stat lines because of it. He's had some of his best games of his entire career this season so far. And a lot of that is just the added responsibility. In some ways, that's where he's gone to new levels. Now, I don't know how much more he can be developed to even higher levels. He may be very much at his ceiling this year. But I mean, I would like to think maybe there is more that he could go to as far as things. Because, like, in some ways, he's almost 30, like I said. And I didn't think we could squeeze any more developing him further. But you know what? Darko's proven it wrong. This dude will develop young guys like Grady that are around 20, and he'll develop guys that are around 30 too, and get more out of them too. It's crazy. If he starts showing Kelly Olynyk development this year, I'll be like, holy crap, Kelly Olynyk's doing this after so many years in the league. Yeah, Darko's a real good development coach. This is what I'll say after that. That's what I'll say after that. David's saying Yak is great. Not a huge help on the bench, though. Yeah, we want him healthy. We want him feeling good. Get that vitamin C. Get a nice, warm, fuzzy blanket and get warm, Jakob. Just get better. Just do whatever you got to do. That's for sure. Yeah. Nameless is saying Yak's best years are still in front of him, according to my estimation, based on what I see. Who knows? I mean, this season could be his peak year, but we don't know. We don't know. It could be, you're right, that he continues to just get more and more comfortable and confident in the new role and the new level of play. Part of it is he got dialed back once the guys came back. Like when Scotty came back, some of Jakob got a little bit dialed back as far as the responsibilities and how much he had to carry us. And in some ways, when IQ comes back and everybody's fully healthy, it could be that the slice of pie that Jakob is doing for us is smaller. And that's just natural because RJ, Scotty, and Emmanuel are available. And then Jakob becomes more like the fifth option on the team behind Grady, too. So that's part of it. In some ways, Jakob has been a primary option for us in a lot of the games we played so far this year. So that'll be determining the levels of what he achieves. In some ways, is how much are we calling his number because of who's around and who's available. That will have something to do with it right there. That's right. That's right. Wayne's saying, what timeline? Derps, you seem to be one of those that don't know much. I don't want to go at Derps like that. Jakob is good for short, mid, and long term. Timeline my ass. I just think it's a silly thing. I think it's something that's been made up by content creators more recently that is absolutely made up bullshit. There was never something like this when I was a kid. Nobody ever talked like timeline bullshit. It may very well be ESPN heads made up this kind of controversy bullshit, where they just made up the idea, oh, they're not on the same timeline or something like that. It's absolutely a fabricated, full of shit and doesn't mean jack shit thing. Because we never talked about this when we were younger. Oh, they're not on the same timeline. I get it. Some people think this because of the Raptors' turnover of their roster last year, that there's a timeline talk because Fred and Pascal were on the same timeline as Scotty. No, it wasn't really a timeline thing. It was more about fitting with the personnel and how they played on the court. If Fred and Pascal fit with Scotty like RJ and Emmanuel did, they'd still be here. And it doesn't matter how much older they are or where they are in their career. It was more about fit as far as roster fit and the way they play off each other than actual age or where they are in their career. So, yeah, this is something that's totally been made up in the last few years that it's absolutely not a thing. It's absolutely not a thing. It's people like Shannon Sharp and Tim Bontemps and Peloton. They made this shit up. And fans think that this is something that matters on this. Maybe some of the GMs think about it this way, but I don't know if they do. Because honestly, you can have a mix of vets and young players. The best teams in the league have a mix of vets and young players. That's been the formula for winning in the whole NBA forever. You got teams like the Rockets in the mid 90s where you had Olajuwon and all those guys. And then you had rookie like Sam Cassell. You can have that mix. A mix is healthy. A mix is healthy. A mix like the Raptors had around the turn of the century with Oakley, Willis, and Davis, along with T-Mac and Vince Carter, who are babies. So mix is healthy, and it's the best way to build your team. You have to have veteran leaders on your team. And Jakob, it fits the timeline with our team. I wouldn't insult our guy like that. Derps, I apologize for him saying that one of those in some ways. Yeah. Derps is saying, absolutely, Yak gets Shamshay up to speed. Maybe Mobo and Scotty ASAP. Yeah. Well, in some ways, there's a timeline with Shamshay, and he's not on the timeline yet because he's not ready. It's really who's playing ready. In some ways, we got to wait for Shamshay. And it could very well be, Derps is right, that Shamshay will come up and supersede Pirtle and take his place at a certain point, and Pirtle will ride off into the sunset and go to a different team or whatever happens in his career at that point. But I know he's under contract with us for a couple more years. And in some ways, I very highly value him. And I would be very happy if Bobby Webster doubled down and reinvested in him once his contract was up and continued him with us. In some ways, we want a plethora of good bigs, and Shamshay coming up and just taking the spot in a couple years from now, we may want to still have people around him that are very capable, like Kelly and Yak. So we'll see. Yak has got more years in him than Kelly does. Kelly may be gone in the next couple years himself from the NBA completely. And he said he wants to finish his career in Toronto and not play for anybody else. So we may have Kelly Olynyk for like this year, next year, maybe one more year after that, and that's it. And then he's retired and he's done from the league. So we'll have to see. Randolph's here. Game day blessings, beloved Raptor Shrieks. Most informative gang. Division and isolation is a weapon used by enemies to weaken and destroy. Practice living in unity and togetherness and staying strong. This is so true. And it's harder than ever. It's weird, man. Like so many people get divided on such trivial things now. They've really figured out all kinds of hot button topics to get people all messed up. Whether it's worries about trans people, whether it's vaccines. Some people are anti-vaccine and they don't want to associate with people that got the vaccine. It's crazy. They found so many different ways to divide us other than the classics of like race and, class and, sexist stuff. And it's awful. And in some ways that side has been winning more and more on dividing us and keeping us apart. And it's too bad that the election went the way it did because it was a vote for more divisiveness and not for healing and getting things better, which is what the other side was going to do. Yeah, I'm really sad about the election more and more because in some ways it was a ball dropped. In some ways they're going to try and blame all kinds of different people for why it happened. But really what happened was apathy and racism and sexism and people that were absolutely lied to and misguided were voting against their interests, and they didn't even know it. And that's the sad thing. Misinformation and division ruled this election cycle. And it's sad because honestly, we wanted to come together. That's right. That's right. Derps is saying Juju and Page this draft, and Juju 3 drafts from now. I love Juju Watkins on the Raptors, on the tempo. I'm sorry, on the tempo. That'd be awesome. Page for sure. Page, of course, homegrown talent. Man, whoever it is, in some ways, let's not talk about it. We don't have any legs to stand on to get players yet because we are not fully in the league yet. We are still in the expansion mode of coming in. And I don't want to get too ahead where we're screwing things up already. Like in some ways, things have been getting screwed up for the WNBA team already. And we don't want to be part of that by tipping our hand like in poker and letting the other people see our hand and what we're trying to do way ahead of things. We have to wait and be patient, y'all. I know y'all are anxious to want to put players to the names with the Toronto tempo, but we can't do this. We need to let everything happen in its own order once again and practice patience. Whether it's with Shamshay, whether it's with the Raptors rebuild, whether it's with the Toronto tempo starting up their franchise and doing everything in the proper steps. In some ways we don't want to screw them up. We don't want to screw him up. That's what I'm saying. Nameless is saying, people saying Yak doesn't space the floor because he doesn't shoot threes, but there's like 4 other ways he creates space for his teammates. So there goes that dumb argument. Yeah. No, we saw just how unorganized they were against the Thunder on Thursday night, really having a hard time getting into their offense in the right way and moving the ball around efficiently without getting it stolen or turnovers or whatever. Yak is a very good straw that stirs the drink. And Fernando is not a suitable replacement that gives you the same thing. That's what we learned against the Thunder in the beginning of the game. That's right, Kelly. Oh, Linux, come on back. Come on down. You're the next contestant on Playing for the Raptors against the Dallas Mavericks. Kelly Olynyk, come on down. I want him to come on down and have the uniform on and play number 41. Get out there. Come on, man. It's been too long. We need to see Kelly Olynyk play some basketball. I mean, heck, he barely played in the Olympics. I mean, he had that back problem this summer, too. You could tell that the issue that's kept him out of the Raptors season so far was absolutely a factor in him limited minutes in Paris for Team Canada. Absolutely. Absolutely a factor. Wayne saying, thinking of Chris Boucher, I would love to see him develop shooting in the paint. He would be unstoppable. Chris ain't IQ like that, though. Regrettable. I don't know if that's true, though. Listen, Chris has got a lot more offensive to him than we see in the regular Raptors games, because in some ways he was told to rein it in and not do some of the stuff he used to do. Like when he played for the G League, when he was in 905, he was such a dominant player on both ends. He won the Defensive Player of the Year and the MVP of the league. And he was absolutely the best defensive player in the G League that year. And he was also unstoppable on offense. And it was a mix of everything. He would drive and transition and make great dunks like he does on the Raptors. He'd hit threes, but he also did have some mid-range and a little bit of turnaround. He's done a little bit of it recently, but it's really for zone buster or because the shot clock's running out and somebody's got to shoot it real quick. But those shots are there. He has the ability to make mid-range shots, and he's done them. It's just that they don't always go in. So I would say that he actually has this, Wayne. He has some shooting in the paint, and he's actually a really good finisher. He's an pretty good three-point shooter. He's getting better and better. And he does have a little bit of a shot in the 10-foot range around in the paint. So it's just that it doesn't go in all the time. But he does take shots there, and he was very good there when he was on the G League years ago. So he has it in his arsenal. He does. Derps is saying, ESPN says Shamshay is estimated to return the 8th, no listed reason. Yeah, that's wrong because Shamshay played last night. Shamshay played for the 905 last night, and he's available again. He's off of the injury list for his illness. ESPN may not have updated it because they did not know that he returned to the lineup for the 905 last night. So Shamshay is not ill anymore, and he could be available to play for the Raptors tonight on his two-way contract. So we'll have to see. Already Shamshay going to play? Probably not, but he is available, and he could, maybe possibly because of a big man not available tonight. That Shamshay does move up the depth chart, and he does get to play all of a sudden tonight. That could very well happen. We'll have to see. Let's keep going in the chat. I love all the comments today, guys. We're getting over a lot of stuff here. Smooth saying tonight is going to be really tough for Toronto. Dallas is firing on all cylinders now. Yeah, 6 in a row. And they've been pretty quality opponents that they beat. Let me go look at the 6-game winning streak for the Mavericks right now. They beat Atlanta in Atlanta. They beat the Knicks in Dallas. They went to Utah and beat the Jazz. They beat the Trailblazers. They beat the Grizzlies, and they beat the Wizards. So there's some softies in there, the Jazz, the Trailblazers, and the Wizards. But there's also some pretty good teams right now in the Knicks, the Grizzlies, and the Hawks. So, yeah, and it looks like they're pretty shared with who's been the leading scorer between Irving and Doncic. Both of them kind of chipping in. The other thing is I'm seeing very high scoring by them. The last game against Washington, they scored 137 points on Thursday night. So they are putting up some points, and that may be the trade-off. In some ways, they're not like Thunder. They're going to play good defense and put a bunch of points on you. And maybe they're going to put a bunch of points on you, and maybe their defense isn't as good. So we need to make sure that we can keep up with them scoring-wise if it is going to be a high-paced, high-scoring game. Those guys can fill it up, Luka, Kyrie, and Clay. And we need our guys to fill it up too. And RJ, Scotty, and Grady. You guys need to fill it up for sure. Yeah, man. Yeah, this is a good team. Reggie's also saying, remember, the Raptors are a top 5-10 pick away from being back to a 50 win plus team. I know you guys keep saying that. I think we may be one already without the pick. It's just that we need to see barbecue in full effect with Bruce and Kelly out there, everybody. We need to see the whole entire team healthy. And in some ways also coincide with the rookies continuing to develop and getting better and better over the course of the season. So you may be shocked without even a additional talented draft pick at the end of this year, how good the Raptors are absolutely fully healthy, because we have not seen this yet. We have not had full barbecue at all this year. There's only been BB or a BQ at the beginning of the year, but never BBQ. And that, until I see BBQ out there, I don't know what their ceiling is. They could be a 50-plus win team already. It's just they need time to get more chemistry and time together healthy. And boom, all of a sudden, our team is that good, because we've shown signs that we are already, honestly. Derps is saying Clay is the weak point, at least in the starting lineup. Also starts the half. Purely political reasons, he has that fifth starting spot. Yeah, I could see that. Okay, well, in some ways, he was a big acquisition. In some ways, he deserves it because his floor spacing and just his reputation. But you're saying that he's not playing well enough, and in some ways, they're being charitable to him, giving him the fifth starter spot, and that maybe another Maverick should be starting instead of him. That's very interesting stuff, Derps. Very interesting. I'm going to give you a dunk for interesting insight on the opponent for today so far. That is very interesting stuff. So you say he doesn't deserve it. All right, you got a 5-pointer. You got that Vince Carter 15, unless you want it to be a Jorge Garboza 15, or maybe even a Amir Johnson 15. There you go. There you go. Stargate said, I meant visibility, not viability. Oi, 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 oi. Oi, 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 oi. Smooth saying, it isn't in the Raptors' interest to be in a play-in spot. They need that top 10 pick, hoping for the first 5. I don't know, man. I don't care where they land. Once again, if it's a Plinko chip on Price is Right, let it fall where it may. And in some ways, everybody says, oh, we need to either really tank out or, go really hard and go into the playoffs and go far. I don't think that that's true. Once again, everybody is basing things on how things were like 5 or 10 years ago in the NBA. This is not the same NBA where if you're in the middle, it's purgatory. It used to be very well be, this was true, that in the NBA, if you were stuck in the middle, Steelers wheel, you would be stuck in the middle because you weren't getting the high draft picks to really elevate your team and move the needle. I don't think this is true anymore. I think that because of the salary cap, the weaker draft classes, that you can't do this anymore, that you need to take the steps coming up. And even if you're a play-in team, you can improve from being a play-in team this year to being a full-fledged playoff team and maybe even a top team in the league. You don't need to do it that way. And especially because we're the Raptors. We specifically, as one team in this league, don't need to pick anywhere in the draft. We can pick anywhere and we'll be fine. We got Jacoby Walter at 19. We got Grady Dick at 13. Look at where we got OG. Look at where we got Pascal. I don't give a shit if we have a top pick, because wherever we pick, we're going to make gold happen. So in some ways, with that philosophy and knowing our specific case as a franchise with this great bonus of our front office and picking gold wherever we pick, I don't care where we finish. If we want to go and get in the play-in and get some experience in the play-in some more for our young core, that's fantastic. I say pull no punches. Let us land where we're going to land with our win-losses, even if it's not tanking out and getting right up there at the top of the Cooper Flag sweepstakes. Even if it's not a top 6 in the Eastern Conference playoff spot where we're ensconced in the playoffs. As long as we are doing something where our guys are progressing and learning more and more how to win, we are winning. It doesn't matter where we land. And I think I'm one of the people that is of the more experience these guys get in the playoffs, the better. Scotty was lucky in his rookie year. He went to the playoffs and got playoff experience his very first year in the league. Since then is very little. And in some ways, we need to continue to let these guys build in the playoffs and learn those tough lessons now, then put them off just to tank to try and get a draft pick that may not help us in the long run anyway. So I say this, we can't have designated landing spots where we think is best for us. And I say anywhere we land, where we naturally land, trying to play all out to win with injuries and whatever's happening with us is where we're supposed to be. Now, with Darko and Bobby and Masai, specifically Bobby and Masai, have a secret plan on the down low to navigate or steer our ship towards some sort of outcome that they want by the end of the season, so be it. That is proprietary knowledge, and I don't want to know if they're going to hold people out for injury and manipulate our win-loss column this way for the whole season. That's on them. That's their own secret plan and what they're trying to do. And some of it they did in Tampa, and it worked very well and got us Barnes. But we'll have to see. In some ways, I don't care where we land. I'm not scared of anywhere. If we're in the play-in, that's fantastic. If we're a full-fledged playoff team, that is awesome. If we fall out and we are in the lottery, that's fine too. We can't lose, is what I'm saying. We can land wherever we want at the end of this year, and we're going to make the best of it. Watch. That's what I'm saying right there. That's right. Stargate saying, Smooth, please stop this covert tank commander talk, bro. Well, if Masai's secretly a tank commander, well, don't tell any of us, and let's just see what happens. But I don't think he is. Maybe a little bit. Maybe he is a little bit. I don't know. In some ways, the coach is not, and that's what's important. Darko is not a tank commander. He's not trying to hold punches and not go all out to try and do the best. Masai and Bobby maybe limiting him, making it harder for him because the injuries held out. Maybe that's part of how they're doing it. But Darko is full on exercising, going all out and winning is what he's doing. That's what I'm saying. Smith saying the recent spat of good play from the team hasn't changed my outlook. Sacrifice 1 year for 10 years of excellent play. Well, it may very well be we sacrificed this year anyway. But also, I don't want to be at the bottom of the Atlantic Division. I see Philadelphia starting to get a couple more wins recently, and I've enjoyed having the Sixers below us. In some ways, I want to stay ahead of them, stay that rabbit ahead of them. And I don't know that may be feasible. At some point, the Sixers may get healthy, and they may very much overtake us with their record, and we'll be back at the bottom unless we can overtake maybe Brooklyn somehow over the long course of the season. But yeah, in some ways, I don't want to finish last. I have a pride in that. And being above Nick in the Sixers right now has been kind of a small victory. Not gonna lie, that's been kind of nice to see them below us in the stats right now. Yeah, it really is nice. Let's see. Name is saying correction. Jakob will definitely be the starting center of our next championship. I had a premonition about this that he would. You know, the reason why Yak wears 19 is to celebrate our championship that he missed out on because he was traded away before it happened. That's a reminder for everybody, the number 19 on his jersey, that he is all about championships and he wants to get the next one for the Raptors. So he's reminding us 19, 2019, 19. You know, Pascal wanted him to switch back to 42 so that he'd be right next to him in the numbers, 43, 42. He even asked him in a post-game interview one day, and Yak said, no, I'm wearing this number for a specific reason. And that's the reason right there. This guy does want to win a championship in his career, obviously. And the reminder of us winning our championship is on his jersey, number 19, right there. That's it, right there. Let's see. Mo's saying, W Stream, W Vibes. Go Raptors for life. Keep at it always, Lex. Raptor Freak crew, strong forever. And tomorrow we'll be in person. I'll see Monique in person tomorrow. It's going to be so awesome to see her at the 9:05 game tomorrow. I hope all y'all will come down. And come to the game. 2 p.m. start is when the tip-off is, right at 2 p.m. That's why I'm going to try and get there 45 minutes before to kind of hang around and hobnob a little bit with people that are coming also. So if you want to come down for the Raptor Freak Hangout at the 9:05 game, Westchester Knicks versus 9:05 at Paramount Fine Food Center tomorrow at 2 p.m., we'll be down there. Monique will be down there with her family. And I'll be coming there, and Adriana will be coming there. Hopefully some other Raptor Freaks will show up, and we'll have a jolly good time. And you can watch a game with me in person, and we can cheer real loud. And hopefully the 9:05 will beat the Knicks tomorrow. That would be good. Maybe we'll see Eugene Omeroy get in a fist fight. That's just the added bonus of going to 9:05. We may see our Draymond guy get in a fist fight with one of the Knicks. Seriously, it was like that. They were really mad at each other. It was a lot of John, and the referees had to separate everybody. Let's see. Nameless is saying Yak is a top 5 center in the league this year, in my opinion. Top 5? That could be. I'm sorry. I have to keep drinking water in my throat. I mean, I'm not really paying attention to the league overall very well. You know, I know that Jokic is playing at an extremely high level right now because he's like at the top of the MVP rankings right now. Big Dummy's been hurt, so we can't really put him involved in anything. Anthony Davis has been very good this year. when he's been in the lineup. He started really well. I don't know. In some ways, I want to just say I agree with you because I'm a homer, but I don't know if this is exactly true. It may be statistically true, actually, though. You may be right. Nameless is saying, I'm that bullish on the Austrian big man. And there he even's got the flag. There you go. Look at that Austrian flag there. I love it, man. And Fiercey's with you. I like that. Y'all are being good Raptor freaks like this. All right, Nameless, you want to dunk for being bullish on our Austrian hammer. Austrian hammer. We'll get to the chopper, Nameless, because you're getting a dunk for it. You're going to get a 5-pointer. 109 is where you're at now, Nameless, on the dunk charts. 109. Boom, goes the dynamite. Fiercey, you want to get on that too because you're with it? All right, you're with it. You're going to get a dunk too for believing in our guy, Jakob. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, you're at 260, Fiercey. 260 dunks for Miss Salsera. There you go. Yeah, Wayne saying Jakob came back to us as one of the top 7 finishers in the league. His stats were crazy efficient in the paint. And when he gets his touches against most, not all centers, he's basically unstoppable. That's true. I've been very curious about how, he finishes through contact and guys just being right next to him. He's such money. If he's right near the paint, if it's an offensive rebound coming off, he's getting to it and putting it back. And he's holding off everybody because of his strength and his size. And they're not disrupting him from that. In some ways, this is exactly true what Wayne's saying. But it's really close up where he can't be stopped. In some ways, you get a little further away, like 2 or 3 feet out, he can be kind of stopped then. But if he's right up on the rim, they're not stopping him. They're not stopping him. Wayne saying timeline is a societal ageism concept. With all due respect, Lex, don't apologize for me. Your channel and apologize for yourself or something below the belt. Timeline argument is stupid, period. Yeah, it's all good. It's just that in some ways, I don't want you guys to personally attack each other. That's all. In some ways, I don't have many rules on this channel, but in some ways, especially if we're like good standing Raptor freaks overall. If it's somebody new and we don't know them at all, and they're coming in and they're just spouting stuff, you guys have the right because they're coming in with their first step and they're doing it. But when it's somebody that's kind of like a valued person of the Raptor freak community, like Derps, I just don't want you guys to like turn people off by kind of saying, "Oh yeah, that's dumb to say that." It's really the personal attack is what it is. I mean, I don't mind you guys disagreeing. You could say like, I totally disagree with you, Derps, and stuff like that. It's just, that's what it is more. And I don't want to necessarily apologize for you. It's just the action. It's just the action. And, that's all. Either way. But I appreciate that, Wayne. And I appreciate your patronage and everything you do on the channel all the time, man. Derps is saying, we'll see if Shamshay is street clothes or not. Yeah, he could be suited up tonight. Honestly, I could see it because we are lacking up front, and it could very well be he's useful for depth, especially since Bruno didn't do much in the last game. We may very much take a look at Shamshay on the big club tonight. We'll have to see. He's coming along a little better. He didn't have a very good game last night, like I said, but maybe it's time to give him another chance on the NBA court. We'll have to see. Most saying I'm gonna be in the arena tonight, of course, try and hit first, come out a halftime strong. Great. This is fantastic. Monique's going to come down and bring her vibes to Scotiabank Arena once again for another home game and bringing hopefully the W home. Monique is a big impact in just the vibes in the building when she comes down there. And I'm so happy you're going to be there, super fan, to hold it down for us and represent the RFF on site. And who knows? I mean, last time she went, she saw Masai Ujiri. Who knows? Maybe she's going to run into somebody else this game. Who knows? We'll have to see. Definitely share the picture if you do. So awesome you got to see Masai on Thursday night. Derps is saying, weak drafts you can lose in the play-in and get like number 1 like Atlanta Hawks just did. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Nothing's guaranteed. And Atlanta winning the draft last year, the draft lottery, is exemplary of that. I mean, we could do like what Pistons did last year and lose out still. Like we could lose on purpose and still end up picking like 5th. It would suck. That would suck. Why would you want to go through the misery of losing so much like the Pistons did last year just to pick 6th, y'all? As much as people thought us losing our first round picks to Spurs because of the Jakob Poeltl trade, that is much more disheartening to me. That you're losing and on like not necessarily on purpose, you're just that bad and you still don't get the top draft pick in the league. Oh man, see, that's what I'm saying. Nothing's guaranteed, and tank culture and losing on purpose is punished by Adam Silver in the NBA. I'm telling you, and the Hawks are a great example of this. Derps is exactly right. Mike's here. Good to see Logical Raptors fanatic in the house. Project Truth, Mike. And I'm just a minute away from 2 hours. I'm going to get out of here soon. I've been watching Run It Back with Lou Williams, and it's a different recap. It's a decent recap on games and non-TMZ clickbait stuff. They talk ball. Yeah, that's the one with Beetle and Chandler Parsons or whatever. Yeah, I hate Beetle. Beetle is she used to be so awesome when she was younger, but she's turned into kind of a mean old woman. And in some ways, she's not as nice. And she's very catty, and she's very, very mean to the Raptors. Like, she absolutely makes fun of us. Like, she'll openly laugh about us on the show and put us down. So fuck you, Michelle Beadle. You get a 2-finger salute from the Raptors Street. But Lou Williams is a top-notch analyst. This guy knows basketball, obviously, and the way he breaks it down is really, really good. Yeah, I like him. I like how Lou Williams and Jamal Crawford have been showing up more on NBA TV places and really showing their expertise and talking about the sport. So yeah, that's a weird show because I hate Beetle, but I do really like Lou Will, and I think he's fantastic. Mike saying Wendy's pod trash is so bad in my opinion. Laugh out loud. Does Lowe do a podcast anymore? You need Windhurst? Yeah, Windhurst is, in some ways, he's like Woj and Shams. He's a purveyor of information, and in some ways, he's a power broker, and he has some real power to really hurt people. Honestly, there's stuff Brian Winters has said that has hurt certain players and teams at times, and that's the sad thing about this new age of the power brokers of the tweet people. Like the people like Woj used to be, who stepped aside and retired, and Shams and Winders, on the smaller scale, Lewinberg and Murphy for our particular team, they have power and they can shape opinion by what they say. Sometimes they're not just reporting facts. They're very much putting opinion pieces out there, and they're shaping livelihoods for young NBA guys because of it. And in some ways, Winders, I have fun doing the Winders thing, and because I like the idea of like critical thinking, and like Winders is like, well, what this makes sense, and this is this, I like that. But in some ways, I don't like Brian Winders as a personality and kind of what he brings to the table on ESPN. He is a symptom of some of the TMZ kind of stuff that we just talked about. He definitely is right there. Yeah. Yeah. Zach Lowe getting let go as a real journalist this summer is really indicative of how things have gone downhill for ESPN. They let go of some really good people and they reinvested in some really shitty people. And it just shows like what the values of corporate ABC, Disney, and ESPN are as far as what they're doing. It's not about getting the best content from people like Zach Lowe. It's about getting the most sensationalized engagement from people like Brian Windhurst. And that's the problem. I'm sure Zach Lowe's doing something, Mike. It's just you may have to dig a little bit to go find it. I'm sure you'll be able to track them down. Mike said, AD and Braun want to play the same position. Braun can't guard any other position, so getting a center won't work for the Lakers. They're done. I don't understand how these guys want to play the same position. And why is it, if LeBron James is such a versatile, great player, why isn't he can't play with so many different people, especially in his time when he's been on the Lakers? In the past, I mean, he didn't argue. He had people like Anderson Varejao and Zarinis Ilgauskas. He had people like that in the beginning of his career, and he tried to make it work. But now he's got so much power. You can say this and that, move the chess pieces around like pawns on a chessboard. It's like, oh, this doesn't suit me. This doesn't fit me. LeBron, if you're so fucking great, why can't you play all around and fit with whoever and play whatever the 5 positions are asked for you? That's what I would say. If he's so fucking great, seriously. I mean, letting AD play the way he's played this year, the JJ Redick has shown, has worked. He's getting the best out of Anthony Davis in a Laker uniform this season so far. But they want to go ahead and screw it up because of LeBron's ego or different problems. Yeah, you go ahead, screw it up. And yeah, the truth about the Lakers comes out. They may have been manufactured on a win streak in the beginning, but yeah, it all goes away at a certain point. The dream, the mirage, it ends at some point and it fades away. And that's what's happening with the Lakers. Once again, the Lakers are the Lakers. Don't be fooled in some bullshit just because of a Bronny show. The Lakers are still the Lakers. They're still the Lakers. That's for damn sure. Mike's saying Lou Williams has a CN Tower pick in his background at times. Yeah, he loved it here. He respects us. That's why, in some ways, listen, I will take an expert on the NBA level's opinion seriously if they actually talk about us fairly. If there's somebody like the inside the NBA guys and they just disregard us and they don't have any idea what we're doing, like, oh, I don't even know what Toronto's doing. Okay, Charles, what's your job? Then it's disappointing. Those guys are personalities. I look up to them. I think they're awesome, but they're not very good analysts because they're not covering all 30 teams properly. If you see somebody on ESPN and they give the Raptors a fair shake or they're like fair in their criticism, I'm more likely to listen to them. But there's a lot of people in the media in the States that don't pay attention to us, and their default is to just put us down and talk shit about us. And that's the problem right there. And that shapes people for why they believe things about the Raptors. We have low self-esteem and some fans that are toxic, partly because it's taught to them from the U.S. media and the way they cover the Raptors. Why should we respect our own team? The U.S. media doesn't respect them, and I think they're smart because they're experts, so I shouldn't respect them. So that's part of the problem. Part of the phenomena of disrespecting Andrea Bargnani, which we brought up yesterday, is because the U.S. media taught us to disrespect Bargnani. But we shouldn't have, because we should be proud of our number one pick and the very good career that he had. But U.S. media shaping will shape opinions, and Raptors fans are susceptible to this. So I'm saying, Raptors fans, if you're watching a lot of U.S. media about the Raptors, sometimes your takes aren't fair on them because the U.S. media is biased against us. And you're not even aware that it's shaping your head that way. Some of y'all are Leafs fans and you're cynical and you're used to losing and being disappointed, and you take that action and bring it in our fan nation. That's part of it. But also some of it is that y'all shape your opinions on things because the U.S. media has always looked down on us and treated us poorly. And you feel like that's the action that should be deserved for us because you're conditioned by the way they treat us. That's what I say right there. That's it right there. That's right. That's right. Derp says ESPN just keeps going lower and lower. I agree. Yeah, I'm going to be interested to see the new media deal with the new players on the scene, with Amazon and NBC returning. Hopefully NBA coverage will get better in the next couple years. And hopefully they'll have better analysts and not just TMZ, talking heads. I'm going to shout at you, Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless kind of bullshit, because that's a lot of what the sports media is at this point. Opinion and just talking out of their ass kind of bullshit. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Isaac's got me on blast with Justin Beaver. Let's see what Justin's doing this morning. Justin is tired and sleepy. He's hibernating kind of because there is a lot of snow outside. It's his normal time. Wake up. Wake up, guy. Wake up, man. Wake up. Here he comes. Yeah, Justin, I'm sorry I woke you up, man. Are you doing okay this morning? Yeah. Is it cozy in the cabin right now? Is it nice and warm enough for you right now? Yeah, you got a fur coat. You should be feeling pretty good. But yeah, Justin, do you think the Raptors are going to beat the Dallas Mavericks today? Yeah, you feel good about it? Canadian content? Do you feel like the Canadian content will be strong? Dwight Powell, OMP, RJ Barrett, Chris Boucher, Kelly Olynyk back? You think Kelly's coming back today, Justin? Yeah? Yeah, I hope he is, man. I hope you're right. You're my son. I love you, man. I love you, guy. Go back to sleep. Thanks for coming up and saying hi to the fans of the Raptor Freaks right now, Justin. And yeah, I know you're tired, man. He's yawning. All right, go to sleep. All right, go back to sleep. All right, that's Justin Bieber, guys. That's right. Isaac, you want to see Justin? There's Scotty too. I love it. Wayne saying Shamshay Hope is like his age, immature. He has done nothing to want him on the senior team. Can we just allow an 18-year-old to just develop under a great system? Pushing him too early is a failure. Yeah, we don't want him to lose confidence, but that's a tenuous balance between like playing him. In some ways, he can't gauge himself against the other four rookies because it's a totally different thing. He's 18, and they have to make that very clear to him. You can see Jamal and Jonathan and Jameson do what they're doing, but don't get it twisted and start feeling weird that you should be like them. You are way too younger than them. And they went and did college careers, and you have not. You came straight from Africa. So in some ways, Shamshay, you got to go this way, and we need to be patient. But it could be really smart for us to insert him in the game tonight if we have a depth problem with bigs, and he could get a chance to just make an appearance and get some time in there. That could be confident building for him. So I'm okay with him playing tonight if Darko's okay with it, obviously. Yeah, we'll have to see. But very quick leash on him. And that if there is any kind of issues, you pull him out and you let him sit down for a little while. But you give him a taste. You give him a taste at least. That's what I'm hoping. Mike's saying the West power forwards aren't heavy scorers, so it makes sense. LeBron and AD want that position, but someone has to play center and small forward. and the two $50 million players don't want to play either. Well, that just sounds like normal Lakers dumpster fire bullshit. Honestly, that's all that sounds like to me. JJ Redick's the coach. He go ahead and tell them. Oh, you can't tell LeBron what to do, though, JJ? Is that a problem? You should be able to tell them what to do. You're the coach. He's the player. You should tell him what to do. Tell him what positions he should be playing. Cool Cat saying, good morning, Raptor Free Crew. Late joining this morning. Crazy work week. We'll have to listen on faster speed later on. It's great to see you, Coach. Happy Saturday morning, and let's beat the Mavericks tonight. And on that note, I'm going to wrap up the stream for today, guys, because I feel like I'm pretty much at the end here. This is the latest lineup news for the Raptors injuries. Davion Mitchell is listed as questionable today. It's his hip, so we may not have off night available for us to battle Kyrie Irving, which is really not good because Kyrie is much more better to be contained if Davion's in our lineup. Kelly Olynyk may be returning tonight, though. He is questionable. He's been upgraded in the last 24 hours from out to questionable. So he's getting closer, guys. This is very similar to Grady earlier this week. He got upgraded to questionable on Tuesday, and then he came back on the next game, guys. So it could very well be Kelly Olynyk is going to be playing for us tonight, guys. Jakob Poeltl is questionable for today due to his illness, but it's an illness. Like I said, it could very well be he gets better today, and he's able to suit up. Shamshay is listed on the injury report, but he's not day-to-day because he played last night for the 905. So I don't even know why he's on there right now. Carton is out because of his ankle, and Emmanuel and Bruce are already ruled out for today. So no chance of them playing today. On the other side of the ball for the Mavericks, the injuries are as such. Jaden Hardy is doubtful for today's game due to his ankle. Najee Marshall is out for today's game due to an illness. And Dante Exum's been out for the season because of surgery. So those are the three players out for the Mavericks. The referees for today's game are James Capers, Aaron Smith, and Fennessy Ransom. Capers favors the Mavs. We are 1-1 with James Capers this season as refereed games. Aaron Smith favors the Raptors, and Fennessy Ransom is 50-50 on both teams. 500 record for both teams, right down the middle with Fennessy Ransom. So there's your ref crew. They're not totally horrible. As I said earlier, James Capers, 30-year ref. If you do hard work and you work hard out there, he will reward you. So bust your ass, Raptors, and they will look out for you. The replay center is not our friend. Ed Malloy is running it tonight. Just so y'all know, Ed Malloy is at the replay center in Secaucus for the game tonight. Let's see. My 3 stars in the defeat to the 905 last night, Kennedy Chandler, Quincy Guerriere, and Evan Gilliard II. Those are my 3 stars. Let's see. Birthdays for today. Happy birthday to Julian Stone, former Raptor Julian Stone. It's his birthday. And happy birthday to another great former Raptor that was ensconced in the history of Open Gym at the very beginning of the Open Gym series. We saw this man get traded to Sacramento, and it was a sad, sad moment. No, not Quincy Acey. We're talking about Aaron Gray. So happy birthday to Aaron Gray, former center for the Raptors, who was involved in that Rudy Gay trade that set those guys out of here. And he had to go to Sacramento, and they documented that whole trade on Open Gym. It was one of the big episodes that busted the whole series open and made it very popular because they showed the side of the players getting traded and how it felt behind the scenes. So Aaron Gray, happy birthday, man. Former Raptor Aaron Gray. That's awesome. Yeah, y'all check out the Kensington Variety VIP Club. We got a new episode out today. It's 10% ginger ale. I don't even know what that means exactly. And also check your fantasy teams and get them set up for the day of action. That's right. Thank you guys for being with me this morning. Derps is saying Chomshay did play a minute, 5 in the first game. Laugh out loud. 2 points and 1 rebound. Yep. He's made his debut, if anything. Like that's the one thing you want to do with these rookies. Get them in there and let them have their debut out of the way so that they're not anticipating it or getting stressed about it. And then also they get their debut out of the way just in case they have any kind of horrible injury that messes them up. They can say they did actually play in the NBA. So it's like with Marquise Noel last year. He got to play in an NBA game once, and he can say he played in the NBA. Now, if he ever makes it again, we don't know. We don't know if he ever will make it back. Mike saying Shamshay is more like a freshman than an NBA rookie at the moment. Next year they will play like a rookie, maybe. Yeah, I think he needs at least 1 year of orientation. And this is such a great comparison that Mike's made here. He really is like a freshman in university right now and not a rookie in the NBA. And that's what we have to keep reminding ourselves. This guy not only has only been on this continent since we drafted him and brought him over here, he also has only played in the Basketball Africa League, and he's only been playing basketball for less than 10 years. And he's like 18. So he's very new to the game to an extent also, because he got recruited, I think, when he was 12. So I think he's only been playing basketball for 6 years, guys. So we got to understand exactly how green he is and how young he is. And Monique, thank you for the cutoff. Y'all respect that cutoff. All right, thanks for watching the Raptor Freak stream today. I'll be back with a reaction tomorrow. Now, here's a note. Tomorrow I will be going on early because we're trying to get to the 9:05 game in the afternoon. So I may start my stream at 8:30 a.m. tomorrow just to do a proper reaction to the Dallas game, because I need to get done with the stream and get in the truck and drive to Mississauga. And I can't be on for too long. So I think the remedy may be I'm going to start an hour early tomorrow and start my stream at 8:30 a.m. tomorrow. Special start time, an hour early, just so that I can get to Mississauga to see all you guys at the Raptor Freak meet and greet hangout at the 9:05 game tomorrow afternoon, 2 p.m. Bring a toy if you can for Big Brothers Big Sisters donation. All right, let's get out there and touch snow and touch grass if you're somewhere where it's still grass. But yeah, Raptorize your day like Nabatia, and let's have a great day. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, or even join the channel if you feel like it. If you enjoy what I'm doing here to keep Raptors fans in a positive way in the know and what's going on right now. Fantastic. Nike Boudreaux and Hydrogen Blue. How do y'all feel about those colors? I think they're kind of different and they're cool. I'm all about them. So good job, Toronto Tempo. It's growing on me more and more each day, and I'm excited to see how this continues to develop our brand new WNBA franchise here. Let's go Raptors. Beat the Mavs tonight. Take care of the ball. Look out for each other. Get high percentage shots and keep that ball moving. And get in transition. You guys do better when you're in fast break than in half court. All right, Raptors. Let's beat the Mavs. Let's go Raptors. Woo!